So now we're going to spend some time and start jumping into the actual funnels inside of the value ladder. And we're going to have some fun with that. And so I'm excited. This session is called the Ultimate Lead Magnet. Okay, so lead magnets are the ways we get leads, how we build a customer list, how we get people into our world, right? It's the lifeblood of our companies is leads, it's people, it's the humans, it's the people we've been called to serve, right? We need to get those people and bring them in. And so this session, we're going to go deep into what I call the ultimate lead magnet. We drive leads from a lot of different ways. This is one of my favorites, and this is one I want to share with you guys during this session. Okay, so if you come back here to the value ladder we talked about earlier, we're coming down here to lead funnels. And again, there's 3 core lead funnels. There's a lead funnel, a survey funnel, and a summit funnel. All of these are good. They all have different use cases, things like that. But the one I want to focus on today is actually a funnel called the summit funnel. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. Okay, the first thing I want you to understand is I want to preface this for those who are kind of newer into this world who haven't heard me talk about this part of it. I want you to understand that in this business, in this game of online marketing, the secret is this: the money is in the list. You probably heard that before, but that is the key. The reason why I was able to get 5,000 people to register for this event is because of our customer list, right? We sent out emails, and from the emails you guys clicked, you came to our funnels, you signed up, and now you're here today, right? The money is in the list. And so our job is to figure out how do we build a list, right? In fact, in Friday ClickFunnels, one of our key metrics, one of the KPIs, key performance indicators, the number one most important thing we look at every single day is how many people joined our list today. It's still the thing we look at more than anything else. We have a company meeting every single morning at 9 o'clock Mountain Time where all 400 plus ClickFunnels staff members all log in. We go through our KPIs, and one of the very first ones we talk about is how many people today joined our list. Because it's the pulse of your business. If people are joining your list, it means you have new blood coming in. It's the lifeblood. If you don't have a list, or the list is just not growing, you don't have a pulse, right? It means your company's dying. So if your list is growing, your company's growing. If your list is dying or shrinking or not growing, then your company's dying. That's a really quick way to get a pulse. Okay, when someone hires me for consulting, one of the first things I ask them is how many people join your list today? A lot of it kind of jars them. They're like, well, today, I don't even know. I have no idea. In fact, I remember the very first time somebody asked me that. His name was Dagan Smith. He's a close friend. And he asked me, he said, how many people join your list today? And I was like, I don't even know. He's like, really? He's like, you don't look at that number? I'm like, I don't know. I never thought about it. He's like, you should be looking at that's the lifeblood of your business. Like if you don't have that pulse, like how do you know? So I started looking. I remember logging in, and the time like that day I logged into my back office. And it was like, 20 people joined my list today. I'm like, 20. I'm like, how many joined yours, Dagan? He's like, I had about 1,000 today. I'm like, whoa. Okay, there's something wrong with my business now. So I started looking at that every day. I started looking, okay, how many people join my list today? How many people join my list today? And as I started looking at and focusing on it, that number started growing from 20 people a day to 100 people a day to 500 people a day to 1,000 a day to 5,000 a day. And that became the core thing I started looking at, okay? So we have to be building a list, okay? And so the way we build a list is really basically pretty simple. We create what's called lead magnet. So I have this picture here. Lead magnet is the way we suck people into our world, okay? And so all of the lead funnels are a type of lead magnet. Okay, we're getting people in. So for example, some of you guys have probably seen this is one of my squeeze funnels. We've had, I think, 290,000 people have opted in for this free ebook, the Marketing Secrets Black Book. And this is the lead magnet. If you give me your email address, I'll give you this ebook for free, right? It's a lead magnet. Okay, and this is, like I said, this has added almost 300,000 people to our list. This one little PDF ebook that we put together. Someone gives me the email address, I give them the PDF. Okay, now I'm not going to go deep into this type of funnel, but I just want to understand that's what it is the lead magnet. We're trying to get leads. And so when the lead comes into our world, this is where business kind of begins. Now, I had a friend who explained this to me when I was first getting started. He said, this is basic marketing math you need to understand. And he said, when you look at your business, he said, you should be able to average $1 per month per name on your email list. Okay, and so at first I didn't really understand that. He's like, yeah, if you look at how many people on your email list, you should average $1 per month per name. Okay, and so that's kind of the first metric I heard. Now, the reality is this number is actually pretty low. Most of you, if you follow the process that we'll be teaching you guys, you should make more than that per month. But that's kind of like a baseline, like worst case scenario, if I can make $1 per name per month, that's kind of where we start off, right? So that means that like if you had 1,000 people on your list, you should be making about $1,000 a month. Okay, if you have 10,000 people on your list, you're making 10 grand a month. If you have 100,000 people on your list, you're making 100 grand a month, etc. Okay, so for any of you guys who are sitting here saying, hey, I want my online business to make me 6 figures a year, okay, it's not hard to look and say, okay, well, what does that mean? It means I need to get 10,000 people on my list, because 10,000 people times 12 months, so 10,000 people, that's 10 grand a month times 12 months, that's $120,000 a year. Okay, so if you want to make 6 figures in your business, you need to be focused on getting 10,000 people on your email list. If you want to make 7 figures a year in your business, you need to be figuring out how in the world can I get 100,000 people on my list? Because 100,000 people on your list means you should average $100,000 per month times 12 months, that's $1.2 million a year. Like that's the math of this business, okay? Inside of ClickFunnels, that's what we focus on. How many more leads, how many customers, how many people can we bring into our world so we can serve them, put them through our value ladder, make money, serve them, all those kind of things, right? And so this is kind of the basic metric. So I want to share that with you so you start thinking about this differently. This is why all the funnels we create, one of the main goals of funnels is to take all the people on Facebook or on Instagram or on YouTube and get them to come into a process where they join our email list, right? When they're on a list, now we have the ability to follow up with them, to sell them products, to invite them to things, et cetera, okay? So this is some of the marketing math. Now, a couple of things. Most of you guys should be able to average more than this. Like I said, this is on the low end, especially, like local businesses, things like that. A lot of, like I have friends who have a local business with 500 customers and they're making way more, like they're making, $20, $30, $40 a month per name. So it all kind of depends, but there's a direct correlation between how much money you make and your relationship with the list. Okay, that's why I do things like this. This is why we do Facebook Lives and video. All the things I'm doing is I'm trying to build a relationship with all of you guys, with the audience. I'm hoping that over the next 3 days, you guys have such a good experience that you're going to then be like, man, Russ, I want the next thing. I want to come to Funnel Hacking Live. I want to join 2 Combo Club X. I want to do if I can build a good relationship, you're more likely to buy the next thing, right? If you look at our value ladder, if people receive value each tier in the value ladder, they're naturally going to want and going to ascend for more. Okay, so that's my goal right now is if I can build this relationship and connection with you and serve you at the highest level I can over the next 3 days, you're naturally going to want more. Okay, and so that's something to kind of start thinking through as the marketing math here. So what I want to talk about is what I call the ultimate lead magnet, and the ultimate lead magnet is a summit funnel. Okay, these are one of my favorite ones, especially for people who are just getting started. Okay, for a couple of reasons. Number one, the way a summit funnel works, what it does is it puts you in this role right here. Okay, it's putting you in the role of the reporter. So everything we talked about earlier this morning, this is the thing where it takes the spark, right? You have an idea, the thing that you're starting with, you have the spark, right? It finds all the people who are already on fire, and it gives you a chance inside of a summit funnel to come over there, interview them, become the reporter, ask them your questions, get all these things, and it's gonna turn your spark into a fire. Okay, so the first reason why I love summit funnels is because of that. It's going to help you during this growth phase of your business. Okay, it's going to help you to find your voice, help you to get to know people, help you build connection, help you meet your dream 100. Like all these things happen here at this phase. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I love this, especially when you begin. In fact, one of the very first funnels I ever created in my business was a summit funnel 15 years ago, before we even called them that. That's number one. Number two, the other thing about it is you have this chance where you're interviewing all these people right inside of your summit. So I'm going to show you some examples here in a minute, some of the summits that we've created for ourselves. But this right here was our 30-day summit. We had 30 experts in here. So I had a chance to, we had a chance to interview 30 different people, right? So this was me doing all the interviews. I could interview 30 people. Like how much more of a holistic approach will I get understanding this topic by interviewing all these people? A ton, way better, right? It's like I talked about with Howard Burke, like reading one book versus reading 30 books, right? Here I'm reading 30 books, giving me 30 people's opinions, and from there, it's gonna help me to have a more holistic idea and approach when I start creating my own frameworks. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that you have the ability when you do a summit funnel to leverage everybody else's lists. Okay, this is the key. If you look at 30 days right here, every single one of the people that I interviewed, all of them had their own list. They had their own following. Okay, some of them had a list of 30,000 people. Some of them had a Facebook following of 100,000 people. Like I had people who had influence already. So by interviewing them, I'm able to put their face on my summit, and I can use that as lead magnets. Sometimes we had a lot of these people who actually promoted it to their customer list. So they send out emails to their list saying, hey, go join Russell's summit. They came to my summit, they put their name and email address, now so they join my list. Okay. The second, not everybody promoted, and the ones who didn't promote, that's okay. I was able to go and buy Facebook ads targeting their audience and say, hey, Dan Henry was on my thing. You should come listen. All Dan Henry's fans saw it. And they came over and they joined my list, right? And then Trey Llewellyn, we made an ad that targeted all Trey Llewellyn's people. Said, hey, Trey's on our summit over here. You should come opt in for free. And ran that ad to all of Trey's following, all the people who follow him. We got tons of them to come over and to join as well. Okay. This little summit funnel we ran at the first time, we had over 100,000 people join our list from this one summit alone. So if you do the math on that, means I gave myself a $100,000 a month raise by running a summit. Now, I'm not giving that as an income claim because that's insane. We obviously have a lot of pull. We have our own list and things like that. So I'm not going to say that's what you're going to do by any stretch of the imagination, but this is why it's so important. Okay, because it gives you the ability to leverage off the lists of everybody else in there. Okay, so these are some of the reasons. Again, number one, it gives you the ability to grow in this phase, to interview a ton of other people, to get to sharpen your saw, really understand this content better. And number two is it gives you the ability to leverage the list of all the other people who are part of the summit. Okay, so that's what a summit funnel is. Now, I I don't want to be the one who teaches you this because even when we did our summit, the last 3 summits, we've done 3 summits here in ClickFunnels in the last 18 months. We did a 30-day summit, the Affiliate Bootcamp Summit, and the Brick and Mortar Summit. All 3 have been smashing successes for our companies. They've all brought in tons of leads for us. They got a lot of people into ClickFunnels. But the person who ran all these for us inside of our company is someone named Bailey Richard. And I actually had Bailey go at Funnel Hacking Live 2 years ago, and she did a presentation on Summit Funnels to break down the process, the systems, how it works with the numbers, the metrics, the offers, like everything in tons of detail. And she does such an amazing job of it. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you guys the presentation from Bailey talking about Summit Funnels. She's going to walk you through the whole model, the business model, the plan, the funnels, how you get the speakers to say yes, like everything you're going to learn from Bailey right now. And then when that's finished, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes of 3 of our Summit funnels and share with you guys a couple little tweaks and intricacies I want to share with you that changed everything for us that I've never really shared publicly before, except for once on the 2 Comma Club cruise. I told those guys it last December. It's the only people I've ever shared it with. So I'm going to be sharing that with you guys after we come back from Bailey's presentation. So as you're listening to this, I want you to start thinking through, like, what kind of summit can I create for my business, for my industry? What could it be? Like, can I create a summit for this or for this? And how can I use it to get people in? Again, Summit Funnels are the ultimate lead magnet. It's going to give you the ability to become more of an expert, to interview people, to start getting to know all these people, leverage other people's lists to grow your own list as well. Okay? So that said, I'm going to cue up the presentation from Bailey Richard on Summit Funnels.
Funnel Hacking Live, make some noise for Miss Bailey Richard!
Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Fantastic. My name is Bailey Richard, and I welcome you to Funnel Hacking Live. How awesome is this event? I was actually sitting in the audience just 1 year ago at Funnel Hacking Live 2018 in Orlando, and now today I'm standing on the stage in front of you. So for those of you who had these kind of aspirations, it's possible. So to begin, I would really love it if you would take a journey with me back in time to 2015. Before I was a coach, I was actually doing another business. I was an infopreneur, that's what I call us, people that create and sell info products and services. But I was doing it in a totally different niche other than business coaching, which is what I do now. But after a couple of years of doing that and being successful and getting a lot of life experience, knowledge, and passion about how to succeed with info products and services online, I really wanted to bring that knowledge to other people as a coach. And that's when, in 2015, I said, I need to start my coaching business. But there was one big problem. I had nothing. I had nothing that I needed in order to succeed making money online as a coach. The only thing I had was that life experience, knowledge, passion, drive to succeed. But all that other stuff, the email list, the audience, the exposure, the visibility, the authority, the connections, I didn't have any of that. Nobody knew me. I didn't know them. So a little bit of a problem. What's a girl to do? Well, I surveyed all of my options and decided that I didn't want to take the slow route. I didn't want to blog for 7 years, try to build up a readership, introduce products to them slowly over time. That would have been fine, but I'm actually a little bit of an impatient person, if I'm being honest. I hate it when my time is wasted. So I said, I want to get to a level of sustainable business success more quickly. And for those of you out there who believe, like I do, that you have a moral obligation to get what's in here out to the world, then you also have an obligation to succeed as quickly as possible, right? Yeah, absolutely. We can cheer for that. So when I was trying to figure out what was it that was going to allow me to grow my business from 0 to an actual business that makes money in record time, I figured out that I should be doing a summit. Now, I'm going to be clear here. I did not invent the concept of summits, They were around long before I became a coach. They're going to be around long after I'm gone. In fact, Russell has even told me that many years ago when he was getting started, he leveraged virtual summits to grow his business as well. But I knew about summits because I had been a guest speaker on some other people's summits, and I had spoken with those hosts, and they had told me about all of the amazing results that they had gotten from hosting this event. So I decided to give it a try. Now, I admit that I actually had a lot of limiting beliefs about whether or not this was going to work for me. Well, I'm different, I'm in this niche, I don't know. But I decided that I wasn't going to rest on my laurels, and I had to take action, and that was going to require me to try something new. But I kind of figured, well, if this doesn't go as exactly as I'd planned, I would just write it off as a good experience, write a blog post about it, a case study, and move on with my life. But that's not what happened. My first virtual summit, first ever, never having done one before, was amazing, and in 90 days helped me get to a level of sustainable business success that has put me on the stage in front of you today. Yeah. So let's talk about what some of those benefits were that I received. The first thing was that I formed relationships. So as you're going to see later on in this presentation, everything's going to become a lot more clear to you. I was able to connect with over 100 of my peers and colleagues through my summit. Now, that doesn't mean that they were all speakers. No. But I made those connections by doing outreach, people that contacted me because of my event, all that sort of stuff. And guys, it doesn't matter whether you're in the corporate world or the entrepreneur world. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Exactly. If you are not taking advantage of this networking opportunity you've been presented with over the past couple of days, you are crazy. Because when you know more people in business, you make more money. End of story. All right. Second benefit was that I increased my visibility. I told you that nobody knew who I was. All of a sudden, everybody knew who I was. Or, well, enough people, right? Thousands of people were attending my event and suddenly knew that I was a coach. That's how they saw me. And I was able to get that awesome visibility that's so essential. All right, email list, right? We want to talk about the things that you actually need to make money. A virtual summit is going to be one of the best ways that you can grow your email list, especially if you don't have a marketing budget. There's so many people out there that say, I have the life experience, I have the knowledge, I have the skills, I've learned how to build the funnel, but I have $0 to invest in paid traffic. I've got good news for you. You are going to be able to grow your email list massively through a virtual summit because we are going to be leveraging the email lists of our guest speakers. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go through the process of summits in this presentation. But after my first summit, I went from having an email list of practically zero, it was definitely less than 100, to having thousands of people on my list. And even though the virtual summit process took me about 3 months, all of those people joined my list in the matter of just a couple of weeks while we were promoting it during the launch. So can you imagine what it would do for your business if for $0, no ad spend, you were able to get several thousand people on your email list in about 2 or 3 weeks? It's incredible, game-changing. All right, revenue. Virtual summit funnels, as you'll learn, in fact, are free. We are offering a whole bunch of free quality content to our audience, but we do have products and services that we will sell through the funnel, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the presentation as well. But basically, I was able to go from $0 in my coaching business to several $1,000s in the bank. My first summit was a lot smaller. Obviously, over the years, I have grown my events as I've gained more experience doing summits, but to finally have some money in my pocket to be able to invest in the software that I needed to grow, to do more paid ads and stuff was really invaluable. I was also able to establish my authority. With just one event, thousands of people were seeing me as a business coach who really knew her stuff. Because there were so many other incredible speakers on this event that sort of lended me their credibility, people automatically assumed that I knew what I was doing. And lastly, lots of new opportunities came to me from this summit. I'm not just talking about the email list and the revenue. I'm talking about how I worked with the speakers on my summit even after my summit was over to be on their podcasts, to interview them for my YouTube channel. People who weren't even speakers on my summit saw my event, contacted me about doing podcast interviews and stuff. I had clients that would come to me because they saw me on the summit and said, I loved what you did there. I resonate with you so much. I want to work with you. And aren't those the best kind of clients? People that raise their hand and say, yes, please let me give you money? Absolutely. Well, that's what happened with a virtual summit. Now, I mentioned limiting beliefs a little bit ago about how I had them whenever it came to summits. I'm sure some of you already have some right now. You're probably thinking, well, Bailey, summits worked for you. Maybe it's your absolutely charismatic personality, or maybe it's the niche that you're in, but summits aren't going to work for me. By the time I'm done with this presentation, we are going to return to this exact slide, and I'm going to show you why, from a technical and business perspective, summits are an effective funnel and business model for you, even if you are in a totally different niche than me, even if you consider yourself an introvert, whatever limiting belief you have right now, if you're thinking, I can't do this, I'm going to prove to you why it's actually going to work. Now, I think that we need to take a step back and actually talk about what this word virtual summit is. I keep throwing it out there, but people don't necessarily know. So a virtual summit is just basically an online event or an online conference where you, if you're putting it on, you would be the host, are going to bring together a bunch of peers and colleagues within your niche to deliver actionable and valuable interviews with your combined audiences for free for a limited period of time. Now, I know that definition might actually spawn a few more questions than it does provide clarity. Like, how can we make money if it's free, for example? Well, I'm going to explain all of that through my 90-day virtual summit launch process. So I mentioned to you that I was able to launch my very first summit in just 90 days. And in fact, I developed a framework for what I did during those 90 days that was able to help me launch this virtual summit without having any virtual summit experience before. So this is exactly what I teach my students and my clients to do, and you're going to learn about it today. Now, for those of you that are pretty good at math, you would know that 90 days divided by 3 is 30. That's 3 months, right? So each phase is going to be approximately 1 month. So to get started, we're going to enter into phase number 1, which is the planning phase. The first thing that you need to do whenever you're planning a virtual summit is to figure out your logistics. It is a major mistake to start reaching out to speakers before you have considered these logistical items. And the reason why it is a mistake is because when you reach out to those speakers, they are going to have a lot of questions for you immediately. They're going to want to know some of these things. And if you don't have the answers, they're going to consider you unorganized, a rookie, not somebody that they should be spending their time on, right? So we want to make sure that we have all of the answers whenever they ask for them. So some of the things that you're going to need to figure out in advance are, what are you going to call your summit? What's your summit about? It should have an overarching theme that's really easy to pick up upon from your summit title. How many days is your summit going to be? I would recommend about 3 to 4 days. You guys might remember that 30-day summit that we did, right? That was a 3-day summit with 30 speakers. I think 30 is a pretty good number for a very first summit. You can definitely grow in the future, but 30 people is actually quite a lot to organize. And the reason that I like about 3 to 4 days for a summit is because you can host it from Monday to Wednesday or Monday to Thursday. Most people are watching virtual summits whenever they're at work. Honestly, they're sitting in front of their computer and they need a distraction. They sit at their desk on Monday at 10 a.m. and they're like, oh, I don't want to do my job today. I need something else to do. So you're going to pop in their inbox and remind them that you have a summit going on, and then that's when they're going to watch. So trying to maintain that excitement over the weekend when they have to take their kids to soccer practice, whenever they're not in the office, is pretty difficult. And one of the things I'll just mention right now that you're going to learn as we go through this is that The summit itself is actually not nearly as important as the 3 to 4 weeks in advance. About 90% of my sales actually come in before the summit even launches. So we don't need to prolong the delivery of the content on our virtual summit. There's really no legitimate business reason to do that. Okay, great. So after you have figured out what your logistics are, then you're going to start doing some speaker outreach. Now, I mentioned that 30 speakers is pretty good for a first-time summit, but you have to understand that it's a numbers game. You're probably going to have to reach out to about 100 people before you actually are able to get those 30 yeses. And that's why at the beginning of this presentation, when I told you that I was able to connect with over 100 people, even though I only had about 30 people on my first summit, well, this is why. So for those of you who are looking at this slide right now, you might be thinking that I need to invite Russell Brunson onto my summit in order for this to be a success, right? I need to have these A-level celebrities in order for my summit to be successful. But the truth is that that's actually not who we want to have on our summit. These people are amazing, of course. I love them to death. But they get asked to do these kinds of things all the time. So, the demands on their time and what people are asking them to promote, there's a lot of stuff. So I tend to like thinking about my guest speakers in 3 tiers, the A level, B level, and C level. Not a derogatory way to talk about people and their businesses, because all it refers to is just basically how big are they? How famous are they? How much authority do they have? Somebody who's like C-level, kind of down here, would be somebody that just started their business yesterday. They probably don't have an email list of people that we can leverage for our own summit, so it's not going to be too terribly beneficial for us to invite them to be speakers, right? But the thing about those A-levels is that they're often, really busy, and they may not see themselves as real partners in your event, and they may not end up promoting for you to their audience. They're smart. They already know what summits are about, right? They know you're trying to get to their audience. And so if you want to have a couple of those people, to bring credibility to your event, that's fine. That's absolutely fantastic. But you have to understand that that's why they're on the event. Not to promote, but just really to lend their authority. Where we really want to be sitting is in the middle with all of those B-level, mid-level influencers. So these are going to be people that have their own tight, awesome community of followers, that hungry, buying, capable audience that's going to do whatever that influencer says, right? I would rather have somebody like that who had an email list of 5,000 people but open rates of 50% rather than somebody else who's an A-level and has the big numbers but isn't going to promote for me. So we really need to be going after those mid-level influencers. Let me actually tell you a story. I had a client, somebody decided that they wanted to host this insanely big summit. Their first time event, they had 62 speakers, which is insane. That's double the amount that I recommend. But he also insisted on getting as many A-level celebrities as possible. And at the end of the day, 4 promoted for him. So that is not what we're looking for, right? But that's what you can expect if you aren't going after those B levels. Now, as I mentioned, you're only going to be getting about 30 yeses out of maybe 100 outreach. So we're going to go ahead and say a couple of these speakers featured here are going to choose not to participate. One of the things that I would encourage you to do, because it's absolutely one of my biggest pet peeves, is don't burn the bridge with those individuals that say no. It's nothing personal. I get asked to do a lot of summits as a guest speaker. People will say, will you come on and talk about being an infopreneur? Or will you come and talk about doing summits? And here's what's going to make me say yes. First of all, don't assume I've already said yes. There are people that I've never met before that are emailing me saying, hey, I'd love to have you on my summit. Here's the link where you can schedule your interview. Yeah, why would you do that, right? Give me an opportunity to say yes. But if I say no, then do something that's going to make me believe that I should participate in your summit next year, or do some additional work with you. So let me tell you a script that I might use if somebody said no to me. Hey, Russell, oh, I totally get it. You have a million demands on your time. I'm just so grateful that you even responded back to me. That is so encouraging, and I thank you for that so much. You know, we are going to be hosting this event next year. Now that you know about it and you're going to get a whole year's in advance time, maybe I can contact you then and talk about doing it the second time, and I'll have some numbers to show you about how awesome this event was. Would that be okay? Or I might say something like, you know, Russell, thank you so much for responding back to me. I really appreciate it. You're such a busy guy. If you can't be on my summit, which I totally get, could I interview you for my podcast instead? Keeping that relationship open is going to give you an opportunity to talk to them, for them to see you as a colleague. And the next time you do a summit or a JV webinar or literally any kind of thing, and you want to talk to that influencer, they're going to say yes, right? Okay. After you get your 30 yeses, you need to start pre-recording your interviews. Yes, we pre-record all of our content. Modern technology is still not good enough for us to be able to do awesome live video for 3 or 4 days in a row and never have a single hiccup. It's just too frustrating. But here's another thing that I really hate to tell you. Speakers are flaky. Even whenever I am pre-recording, I'll have people that don't show up. I'll have people that need to reschedule the morning of because, you know, their dog ate their homework or something. And we definitely don't want to be advertising that we're going to do a live virtual summit with all of these amazing speakers and then not be able to deliver, because that is going to reduce the trust that our audience has in us, right? But if you pre-record all of your content, then you are going to be able to guarantee that those speakers are actually going to be on your summit because you'll already have the videos before you start promoting them. I use zoom.us to do my interviews. It's pretty awesome, and it's actually free if you're just doing a one-to-one call. All right, so that's basically what we're doing in phase 1, the planning phase. So now we need to move into phase 2, which is the creating phase. Now, I mentioned that we were going to start doing the recordings at the end of phase 1. This is definitely going to spill over into phase number 2, but we absolutely want to get those interviews started as soon as possible because people tend to underestimate actually how much time it takes to schedule, record, edit, transcribe, and all that sort of stuff. But the other things that we're going to be doing in the creating phase is working on the tech. So, as you guessed it, we need to have a funnel for our virtual summit. Now, the purpose of the virtual summit funnel is really twofold. Number 1, register for the event. Number 2, buy the product, right? Now, the reason that I decided to expand this talk into discussing my entire 90-day process instead of just what this funnel looks like is because this funnel is so simple, it's laughable. You guys are actually going to chuckle at how incredibly simple this funnel is. So we're going to start with the registration page. If you have ever created an opt-in page for literally anything in your life, a free ebook, anything like that, then you can do this page. What we're going to be advertising on this page is a free ticket to the summit. Now, they don't actually get anything. They don't get a ticket in the mail or anything like that. All that they're doing is getting put on your email list of registrants so that they can receive the information that they need in order to watch the free summit interviews whenever they go live during your actual event, all right? So at minimum, we're collecting their email address. I like to collect their first name as well. Next, we're going to send them to a page that has a lot of purposes. If you're a ClickFunnels user, which we all should be, right, then you're going to make sure that this is an order form type page. But really what this does is it's a thank you page and a sales page and an order form. At the top of the page, we're going to say something in the headline like, "Thank you so much for registering for this awesome summit. Now, upgrade your ticket." And that's where we're going to tell them about the All Access Pass, which is the front-end offer that we're going to be selling on our virtual summit. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. Then at the bottom, there's going to be an order form area where people can go ahead and make that purchase. And then finally, they're just going to go to the order confirmation page, which is going to let them know how to get into the membership area for that All Access Pass. Now let's go ahead and put this more into a practical context using a summit that a lot of you should be familiar with because you probably saw this last year, the 30days.com summit. Yeah, woo, wasn't that awesome? Great. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the pop-up on the registration page. Registration pages in virtual summit funnels are usually kind of long, actually, so it's a little bit difficult for me to show on a horizontal slide like this, so that's why I'm just featuring the pop-up here. But as you can see, we even have an image of a ticket, so making it really seem like it's an actual event that they're registering for, right? All right, the next page is going to be that multi-purpose page that I was talking about. Now, this page also was quite long, so I went ahead and just chopped out a whole bunch of stuff in the middle, which was just text and images selling the offer. But as you can see up in the upper left-hand corner in that red bar, we have, a big thank you headline that says, thanks for registering for your free ticket for this awesome summit. Then there's a video where Russell is talking about this opportunity for people to buy, and I always say, upgrade their learning experience. And then there's going to be an order form at the bottom for people to actually make a purchase. Now, I'd like to take just 1 minute here and talk about this page and talk about Russell's offer. So for those of you who went through the 30days.com summit funnel, you might remember that he didn't exactly call this an all-access pass. He called it the One Funnel Away Challenge, right? Which is now its own standalone offer. Russell is incredible. He has an amazing team behind him that's able to pull a whole lot of stuff together. And for most of us, trying to mimic what he's done here is going to be pretty impossible. Russell actually took all of the summit content and he said, I'll give you all of this and I'll give you this amazing challenge for $100. I actually don't recommend that any of us in this room do that. What I recommend is that we pull those things apart and that we make the front end offer the all access pass. So that's going to be a membership area where you're going to put the summit content inside. So that's going to be the summit videos. I recommend MP3 downloads as well of all of the audio extracted from those interviews. And you can even include PDFs of notes or transcriptions, or you could sell those as an order bump on your page. Then what I recommend is that instead of offering an additional product with that all-access pass, rather separate it and add an upsell to your funnel. That's going to help you maximize your profit. Many of you have probably heard Russell talk about how we always want to break even on the front end. Ideally, we want to break even, and most of the time we're going to do a lot better, especially if you're not pouring a lot of money into bad paid traffic with that all-access pass, and then we can maximize our profit with those upsells. Some things that you can do for an upsell: an online course. If you already have an online course, a virtual summit can be a fantastic way to help drive sales into that program. If you don't have an online course, you can pre-sell an online course. Just have people make a payment in advance and tell them that the course will be launching 1 month after the summit is finished. Challenges, 21-day type challenges work really well for these upsells also. All right, so you're probably wondering, how much should I be charging for all of this stuff? So let me give you a little bit of pricing guidance here. First of all, disclaimer, this is what I price all of my products in the Virtual Summit funnel at, but it may not work for you. I know my audience, and I know that in the business coaching, make money online niche, I can charge a little bit more. But I actually have one student who hosts a virtual summit in the Christian author space, and her students are actually stay-at-home moms. So she drops the price of her all-access pass down to $29, and she is kicking my butt when it comes to conversion rates because she knows what her target audience is willing to pay. Now, there's another trick that I want to share with you here, which is a 20-minute fast action offer. I didn't exactly show this to you in the funnel, but if you decide to introduce an authentic urgency timer into your funnel, which we decided to do about 2 years ago, you are going to see massive results. So we are now seeing about 60% of our sales actually come in immediately after registration with a 20-minute fast action offer discount. So I'm selling that at $67. Then the other thing that you need to know about virtual summits is that they lend themselves really well to automatic increases in price because the event has very specific dates. So you can go ahead and increase the price when the summit begins and when the summit ends. So basically the way it would work is like this. I register for a summit. I'm immediately presented with a 20-minute fast action offer, which is a discount on that all access pass for $67. If I choose not to buy it at that time, then after the 20 minutes is over, the price is going to go up to $97 before the summit begins. But then I'm going to send out an email to everybody that didn't buy the day before the summit begins, reminding them that the price is going up the next day when the summit starts. So they should go ahead and buy now. And we see a sudden surge in sales. And then the very next day, we increase the price to $127, and then we do the whole thing over again at the end of the summit as well. And the last thing that I want to mention is that if you did want to add an order bump, a $27 price point on a $67 front-end offer is pretty good. And for upsells, anything from $97 to $197 usually works pretty well. But again, disclaimer, these are my prices. Yours might be totally different, and it completely depends on, what's included, what's the value in your all-access pass, what's the value in your upsell, all right? So that's essentially what we're going to be doing in phase 2, is finishing the recordings and doing the tech. Now, the one thing that you'll see on this slide that I haven't mentioned yet is that in addition to the funnel, we're actually also going to need to create the event pages, which are the landing pages where we're going to be showing those videos for a limited period of time during the summit. But I'm going to mention that in phase 3. Phase 3 is all about launching. So remember how I said each one of these phases is about a month? Well, a month is 4 weeks. So what we're going to be doing in the first 3 weeks is that we're going to be promoting our summit to all of our audiences. So who is all of us? That is me, the host, and our speakers, right? So you'll notice that I very strategically designed this slide so that I'm like leading the charge here. And I am encouraging all of my speakers to promote as much as I possibly can. A lot of summit hosts end up failing in their summits because they tend to get tired around phase 3, and they sort of have this attitude like, I already did the work, my speakers need to carry their own weight. And that's a terrible attitude to have. They're doing you a favor by being on your summit in the first place and by promoting it. So we need to do our absolute best, like running a race. You don't slow down as you're getting towards the finish line, you sprint faster, right? So we need to make sure that that's what we're doing. And of course, you can promote in as many ways as possible, but I personally prefer email because that is what we're seeing gives us the most number of opt-ins. So you want to make sure that your speakers are also well equipped to promote. So you want to give them email swipe, promotional images, give them their affiliate link. I do recommend you absolutely have an affiliate program. You can do this really simply with the ClickFunnels backpack feature, which is what I use. And I offer my speakers 50% commissions, which is a little bit high compared to what we might do for an online course, like of a 30% commission. But again, this is a limited time event. What we really need to be doing is giving our speakers every single incentive that we possibly can to promote around those 3 weeks. Okay. I mentioned that we were going to be discussing those landing pages. So here's an example of one. If you actually attended the 30days.com summit live whenever it was happening, you might recognize this page. It was actually a lot longer because we had multiple videos, but again, I've just cropped it for the purposes of this presentation. But here's where people tend to really overcomplicate things with virtual summits. They constantly think their summit has to be live. They're constantly overcomplicating the delivery. Let me tell you how this works. You create a landing page, and there's no videos on it. And then when the summit starts, you put the videos on it. And you leave them up for about 24 hours, and then you take them down. And there's lots of ways that you can do this. You can literally manually go and embed the video codes the morning of the summit. You can also, if you're really familiar with the ClickFunnels editor, you can create your sections in advance and have them hidden, and then you can unhide them. But this is not a very technical thing. Everybody always wants to overcomplicate this. Earlier in the presentation, I mentioned to you that the virtual summit delivery, the actual event, is actually not the most important part of the summit. And I know that's a little weird for us to get, but as I already mentioned, 90% of our sales have already come in by the time the summit begins. So the way that I tend to think about the actual summit event is like when you have someone opt in for a free ebook, and then you send the ebook to their email. Do any of us actually think that it's the ebook that sells the product? No. Who's even reading that ebook? The thing that is selling the product is the next step in the funnel. You put that offer right in front of them immediately after they register, right? So from the marketer's perspective, that's the most important thing to us. So the way that I see the actual summit delivery is like giving them the ebook. You registered for this free thing, you didn't buy, I promised I would give it to you, so now I'm gonna give it to you, right? So we wanna make sure that we fulfill our promise, but we don't have to overcomplicate the delivery. Let them see the videos, send them the videos, send them the links to watch the landing pages, the videos on these landing pages, and that's really all you need to do, okay? All right, so as a recap, that is the 90-day process for the virtual summit launch. Is that great? Yeah, thanks everyone. All right, couple more things as we wrap up here. I mentioned that we were going to be coming back to this slide to talk about the benefits of virtual summits. I really want you to understand that I don't show up here and I'm just telling you that, oh, I got these amazing results, therefore I think you can get them because I did. No, no, no. I am an actionable coach that is interested in getting you results, so I want you to understand what the technical reasons are that this virtual summit model is going to work. Now, hopefully now that we're going to have this discussion, you'll be able to rely upon the information that I've just given you in the past 20 minutes to fully understand it, okay? So forming relationships. How do we form relationships with others? It's going to be through our speaker outreach. You reach out to 100 people and form all of those awesome relationships there, okay? And one of the other reasons, by the way, just a note on this, that I love summits is that how weird is it to send somebody a cold email and just say, hey, I actually love you. I've been following your stuff for forever. Can we be friends? I mean, I would love that email. Feel free to go ahead and send that to me. But normally that's kind of weird, right? And then nothing happens. That's not a business relationship. It's just awkward. It just falls flat. But when you have a summit, you hold a tool in your hand. And do you know what that tool is? You're giving somebody the opportunity to share their message. You are able to say, hey, I love what you do. I think you're awesome. I want to give you an opportunity to share it with more people. And I've got this amazing platform. So can we work together? People are going to say yes to that. Increase your visibility. Like I said, guys, you're actually putting your face out there by doing videos, not audio. People ask me all the time, can you do a summit with audio? No, do it with video. You are going to be literally 30 people, 15 to 30 minute interviews for each one, 15 hours of content, video content that was super easy to create, all of that visibility. Why would you want to give that up? We're going to be super visible because people are going to literally be spending days with us in these videos, and that's going to mean something. Grow your email list. We are going to be asking our speakers to promote to their audiences, so then their email list individuals will come over to our email list. Totally legal, totally awesome, totally free. Yeah, we love free email list growth, right? All right, generating revenue, selling our all-access pass on the front end, increasing our profits with our upsells, establishing our authority, because not only are we getting that visibility, but we are leveraging our speakers' authority because people are going to respect the fact that we are on an event with all of these other awesome people in our niche. And by the way, just having your own event is pretty awesome and gives you authority as an event host. And then lastly, new opportunities that are going to come from working with the speakers, exchanging podcast interviews, getting new clients. You're going to get that visibility, which will lead to new opportunities as well. So for those of you out there who are thinking, I like this, I think I'd like to do this, but it's not going to work for me, that is ridiculous. I have worked with hundreds of people on virtual summits, and here is just a small selection of the absolutely weird and wonderful niches that people have done virtual summits. No lie, my very most recent student is doing a wiener dog disease summit, and she's rocking it. If you have other people in your niche you can connect with, then you can be successful with summits. That's really all it takes. So if you are like me in 2015, and you are wondering what it is that you can do in order to get your business to a level of sustainable success quickly, I encourage you to do a virtual summit, not because I just said to do it, but because contained within a virtual summit are all of the actions that you need to take to acquire or grow elements of a successful business, no matter where you're starting. For me, a virtual summit funnel is my one funnel away, and it could be yours too. Thank you so much.
Was that amazing? Did you guys enjoy that so far? Yeah. Everyone's raising the roof. Let's do that. Okay, I want to kind of wrap a couple more things on this before we wait to the workshop. See if I get my slides back up here. All right, so I want to share with you guys, again, when I got started initially in this business, this is the same process that I did. I started with a summit, and in fact, I ran 3 or 4 summits back, man, a decade or so ago, and it's just fun now to see it coming back and to see what Bailey did with that. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is I want to come back to the summit idea, right? As we're sitting here talking about this, I hope you guys are thinking about like, what kind of summit could you guys possibly do? How does this work? Like, how could you use this to get your dream customers in and get them coming to you? And so one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is when we were putting together the 30-day summit. How many of you guys, by the way, have seen that? If you go to 30days.com, you can see it in action. Now it's an evergreen one we continue to drive traffic to every single day. But it's at 30days.com, so 30days.com. So when we were putting together that summit, I was like, well, what are we going to do a summit on? Like, it could be anything. It could be a whole bunch of different topics. A lot of times I see summits that are complicated, it's confusing. There's a whole bunch of different different questions and things like that. And I was like, I want to have a theme. I want to have something that's going to make this process really, really simple. And so that's kind of what I want to share with you guys is figuring out like a question, like an ultimate question that will drive not only the summit, but it can actually drive your entire value ladder as well. I apologize, they're still trying to pull the slides up. They had it and then it crashed again. So what happens when you live stream to 3,000 people all at the same time from one spot. So I'll kind of just go into it without slides. So when we were putting together the 30-day summit, the question we were asking ourselves was like, what's the question? What's the question that's going to drive this entire thing? And so if you guys go to 30days.com, if you scroll down, you actually see what the question was. But the question initially was that I wanted to ask everyone on the summit was just one question alone. It was, if you were to lose everything today, okay, you lost your business, you lost your friends, your followers, your email list, your customer list, you lost everything, right? And you had bill collectors that were lined up around the door waiting to come and take all your everything you had away, and all you had left was a ClickFunnels account and that had been prepaid for 30 days. What would you do from day number 1 to day number 30 to save yourself? How many of you guys remember this question? So that was the question that we led this whole summit on. So we call it 30 days. Basically, if you were to lose everything and all you had was a ClickFunnels account, what would you do from day number 1 to day 30 to get yourself back on top? And so that was the question that we asked. And so when we did the summit, it was really simple. It wasn't like, I got to think of a whole bunch of questions, a whole bunch of things like that. Basically, the summit was, all right, guys, this is the question. Let me know your answer. What would you do from day number 1 to day number 30? And it put a lot of the work back on the speakers to come back and say, okay, well, day number 1, I would do this. And day number 2, I would do this. And day number 3, and they kind of went through the entire process, showing us step by step everything that they would do over a 30-day window, okay? Now, I share that because if you think about this, if we come back to our value ladder, so 30 days, if you wanted to, your entire value ladder could be built based off of that thing, off the ultimate question, right? It fuels your entire thing. Okay, so again, they got slides going. So here it is. Here's the 30 days. You suddenly lose everything. What would you do from day number 1 to day 30 to save yourself? And then there's the question. So this is the question we said. Let me ask you. You suddenly lose all your money along with your name, your reputation, only have your marketing know-how left. You have bills piled high and people harassing you for money over the phone. Plus you have a guaranteed roof over your head, a phone line, internet connection, and ClickFunnels account for only 1 month. You no longer have your big guru name. You're following your JV partners. Other than your vast marketing experience, you're an unknown newbie. What would you do from day number 1 to day 30 to save yourself? So that was the question, okay? Now obviously we did that and it was the summit, okay? And it was the summit that came in here that was the bottom. This is our lead funnel, right? This is our lead funnel. So it was the summit. We interviewed 30 people and that was the topic. Okay. Now for me, obviously this is not my entire business. This was one thing we brought, a lead thing to bring people in, then we pushed them from there, got people into ClickFunnels. But for you guys, this could literally be your entire business. Imagine this: you do a lead funnel, it goes through this whole process, it teaches it. The summit funnel. When the summit funnel is done, then you come back to this audience, the people that just signed up for the summit, and say, hey, you guys went through this experience, it was amazing. How would you guys like to be? What if we did something? Actually, let me step back. So. The second tier is the unboxing funnels. Unboxing, here's our presentations, and here's our high ticket funnels, right? So the second tier then can come right here. And this basically is, hey, how would you like to buy the recordings of the summit, right? So the summit becomes the next tier in the value ladder. And then you can say, look, how many guys, like for example, after we did the 30-day summit, if I would have came to all you guys and said, hey, everyone loved the summit, but a lot of people wondering, like they want help putting this whole thing together. So I want to shift from here's the training, here's the summit, go do it on yourself, to who wants to do it with me. Okay, you're gonna fly to Boise. We're gonna do a live experience. It's gonna be a 3-day event. You're gonna come to Boise, and this event we're gonna go over 30 days, and this now becomes an event that we sell through a presentation funnel, right? We can do an event. Okay, let's say we sell this is obviously free here. Let's say we sell the recordings for $97 for like the home study course version. This event could be $1997, where people fly out and for 3 days they go through an event where we work through their 30-day plan and get it done and get it created and get it executed and get it live out there. And now they've got the thing done in 30 days, right? Then from there, we're taking the next tier of the value ladder, which could be, hey, what if we do a mastermind group where we come back three times a year as a group? We come together, we mastermind what we're doing, what's working, what's not working, how to scale our companies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so like my entire business could have been built off of just this one question. The one question I could have built an entire value ladder off of. Does that make sense? So I always understand that, like, a lot of times I think we're thinking like, okay, I got to create a thing here and then a whole other thing here, another thing here. It's like, no, this comes back to what Stacy and Paul talked about with the yellow brick road. Like someone goes through this, like what's the next logical thing they need? Well, a lot of people want the recordings, right? What's the next logical thing? What if they came to an event and we can help them facilitate this? What's the next logical thing? How else can we serve them? And you can keep taking somebody through a value ladder. Okay, so while the summit wasn't my entire value ladder, for a lot of you guys, this could be your entire business. Okay, the question. So my question for you is like, what is the question that could drive your summit and could drive the entire value ladder for yourself? Okay, so this was the 30-day one. And again, here's the funnel. Someone came in here, they opted in, then they had the upsell for the recordings, and then there's the 3-day summit. Okay, a little while later, after the 30-day summit went through, it was a huge success. I called Bailey. I said, Bailey, I'm ready to do that summit. Let's do the next one. This one we're going to call, oh, and again here, we can take that up the value ladder like I showed right there. So next one we did was affiliate bootcamp. I said, okay, what's the question we could use that could drive this entire summit? So affiliatebootcamp.com, this question was, okay, we started asking the super affiliates inside ClickFunnels, okay, let's say you were starting over from scratch, you had 100 days to turn this little hobby into a full-time career. What would you do over the next 100 days? And that was the question that drove everything. So we went back to the affiliates, we asked them that question, we did the summit launched, we had the upsell page, and then we had the 3 days worth of summits, just like Bailey talked about, where every single one of the affiliates walked through that process. Here's what I would do over a 100-day period of time to become a super affiliate. Well, instead of this being my part-time career, this could be my full-time job. And they all shared their plans from that. Okay. Now again, if I wanted to, this could be my entire business. My entire business could be a free summit. And then from there, we got a home study course. And then from there, we got live events. From there, we got mastermind groups. Like I could take people through that experience like that. Okay, all off that one question. Like this right here could be a 2 Comma Club funnel just in and of itself, very, very simple, very, very easy. And then most recently, a couple weeks ago, we launched the brick and mortar funnels. Okay, and the question here was, and luckily we weren't planning this. We had everything done, and about that time is when the whole Corona pandemic hit. And so the question kind of shifted to like, if you got hit by a national pandemic and your local businesses couldn't rely on traditional marketing, but you had but had to use nothing but a sales funnel, what would you do? And then we had a chiropractor, a dentist, a doctor, like all these local brick and mortar businesses tell us exactly what they would do. And that became this funnel for brickandmortarfunnels.com. Okay, same process, same everything, and it brought in a new segment of the audience into us. Now again, I use this as lead gen to get people into ClickFunnels. So people who have brick and mortars now can understand how to use funnels. But again, if I wanted to, this could be my entire value ladder. I could go from there. Oh yeah, here's the summit if you haven't seen the funnel. Again, the process is very similar. The first page to register, then we have the upsell page, and then the 3 summit pages where they actually get all the recordings each day. But again, that could become my whole value ladder. I could go from here doing the summit to doing an online course, to doing live events, to doing mastermind groups. I could just pull somebody through that process as well. Does that make sense? So it's kind of cool when you look at it that way. It's like if you create one ultimate question to drive your summit, it can drive your entire value ladder as well. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do for this workshop. Okay, same thing. Let's do this one a little shorter. Let's do this one. I'm gonna do 2 minutes for you guys to figure out your ultimate question. I think if you've got the workbook, we are on page number 95 if you're in the workbook, or if you get a pad of paper out, you can do as well. And just write down like what would be the ultimate question that would drive your summit that potentially could drive all the other pieces inside of your value ladder. Okay, so you got 2 minutes to write that down for yourself. And it could be anything. It could be if I want to lose weight. Let's say you're in the weight loss market. Like, okay, if you had 30 days before your bikini competition, you had to lose 12 pounds. What would you do in the next, I don't know, whatever it could be, right? Or it could be, you've got $100 a month coming in, and you've got to figure out how to trade stocks over the next 2 years to be able to retire. What would you do? What would that process look like? Whatever your question is going to be, right? That you could go back to your summit attendee or summit participants and ask them. They could give you a step-by-step blueprint, a framework, you may say, to help people with, right? Because when all said and done, I'm coming to these people in my audience to get them to create a framework. Here's a framework for how I would do this. Here's another framework. Here's another framework, right? 30 days had 30 people's frameworks for how to, if they lost everything, what they would do over 30 days to get back on top. Okay, so I had 30 frameworks, and that became the actual products. Okay, all right. So you got 2 minutes right now to write down the question that could lead this framework, that could lead the summit funnel, that could lead the entire value ladder. You got 2 minutes to write that down, then we'll come back and we'll break into breakout rooms after that. So you got 2 minutes. Ready, set, go. We move to the next section. So we've got 3 more sessions today before dinner. Just FYI, I'm really excited for all 3 of them. One of them I'll introduce here in a second. And then I'm going to be doing a session on unboxing funnels. For those of you guys who are doing physical products, e-commerce, you're going to love that one. I got some fun, some case studies and stuff to show you. And then I've got a special presentation from Dean Graciosi coming. And then we're going to have a dinner break. Dinner is going to be 45 minutes. One of the initial schedules says it's going to be 2 hours. We're going to have dinner be about 45 minutes again, just FYI. And then after dinner, we'll do one more session. It's a bonus session on challenge funnels. So if you want to learn how to do a challenge funnel, we'll be doing that after dinner, and then we'll break for the night. So a couple more, 3 more fun things before dinner, and then 1 thing after. So that's kind of the game plan. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to be showing you guys a presentation. This is one of my favorite from Funnel Hacking Live. It's from a guy who you guys know really well inside the ClickFunnels community. His name's Alex Sharfin. And the first time I ever met Alex, I was in a room with him, and he did a 10-minute talk on this thing that he called the entrepreneur personality type. I remember sitting in the room there, and as he started talking, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not broken. I thought this whole time I was dumb or something was wrong with me. I'm curious how many guys out there struggled in school. How many guys ever sat in school and you're just like, I don't understand what the teacher's talking about, or you couldn't pay attention, or you're like, something's wrong with me, something's weird, right? I always thought that. In fact, until I was probably 21 years old, I always thought I was dumb. I just assumed I was dumb because I couldn't understand the teacher. I struggled, I was frustrated, and it wasn't until Alex spoke that all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, it's not a disorder. Nothing's broken. Nothing's wrong with me. It's just understanding that I'm built different. I'm an entrepreneur. And he talks about the entrepreneur personality type. And I wanted to bring this presentation because I think for so many of us, if you guys are here, if you've been attracted to me and to this movement, into ClickFunnels, my guess is you're probably a little bit different. You're probably an entrepreneur, and probably you have friends or family members who are like, why do you keep doing this? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why don't you just go get a job like a normal person? How many of you guys have someone in your life who you love who like, why don't you just get a job like a normal human? Okay? I've had that over and over and over again as well. And it wasn't until I heard Alex talk that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not broken. I'm okay. And this is actually a good thing. And it helped me a ton. And so he did a presentation at Funnel Hacking Live talking about that, and then also talking about a thing he calls the billionaire code, which are the phases that people go through in business. And each phase, there's different things you have to learn, have to understand. And so this presentation is a little less than an hour long, but you're going to get some really powerful things from Alex. Again, it's one of my favorite presentations from Funnel Hacking Live. I think it'll help you understand yourself, or if you're here with the spouse who drug you along, it'll help you understand your spouse, your significant others, maybe some of your kids a little bit better as well. I've got kids who definitely have the EPT, the entrepreneur personality type, who now that I understand that, I treat them differently because it was anyway, you'll understand as you kind of go through this. With that said, we're going to cue the next presentation from Alex Sharfin called The Billionaire Code.
Well, if you would, ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet and welcome to the stage, Mr. Alex Sharfin.
All right, who's ready? Who's ready? Like, has this been a ridiculous event? I mean, just every speaker has been absolutely amazing, haven't they? I'm so excited to be here with you. How many were here 2 years ago when I spoke at Funnel Hacking Live? All right, cool. How many of you would say, or how many of you listened to this podcast that I put out called Momentum? Let me see some hands. All right, so I got challenged yesterday by a friend of mine to do the manifesto on stage. How many of you know the manifesto? Memorized? Okay, there you are. So yesterday I was walking around the halls and I'm like, should I do the manifesto? Should I not do it? I'm like, something will give me a sign. And she walked up to me and she's like, I love your manifesto. I have it memorized. I could do it with you. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. But you have to do it with me. So if you know this, let's do this together. You ready? I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum. So we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, and then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are not the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only consistent source of positive human evolution, and we always will be. So last July, the Momentum podcast didn't exist. And have you guys seen a theme yet in this conference? Do what Russell says. I didn't want to get in trouble with the earlier trademark, so I added fast. In July, I went to an event with Russell, and he was like, hey, man, you need to do a podcast. And I was like, Russell, I don't know if anybody will listen to it. He's like, they'll listen. So I put out the podcast. We've done no advertising, and the Momentum podcast on iTunes have had over 225,000 downloads in 65 countries. Pretty intense. And the podcast is made specifically for an individual called the entrepreneurial personality type. And I want to help you all understand first that you're an entrepreneurial personality type. Second, I want to show you the proven path to entrepreneurial success that every one of you can take. Exactly what I used to coach some of the most successful people in the world, because here's where most of us lose our time. Entrepreneurs lose more time doing what they shouldn't do than what they actually should do. We focus on the wrong things at the wrong time. Like, how many of you right now know that not everything you're doing is moving you into momentum? How many of you know that, right? How many of you feel like that is the most frustrating feeling in your life right now? That feeling of constraint is what really messes with us as entrepreneurs. See, I'm an obsessive person, and as a kid, I studied success like crazy. I wanted to understand what made successful people successful, and I went out like looking for success. I started reading personal development books. How many of you have been there with me? How many of you have read enough personal development books that starts arguing with each other, right? Like as a kid, I'm 10 years old, and I'm reading my second personal development book, and it's telling me that everything in the first book is wrong, and by the 10th book, the 9th one was arguing with the 7th. It was all crazy. And so I just started reading about successful people, and here's what I found. If you read about enough successful people, you start seeing patterns. See, the people who create greatness in the world are different than the rest of the world. In fact, we don't feel like the rest of the world. I'll share with you, Russell said this earlier. See, we don't really feel happy and sad like everyone else. When we're creating momentum, when we're moving forward, that's when we're happy. When we feel constrained, that's when we're sad. And that feeling of doing the wrong thing at the wrong time and not creating momentum, it's infuriating because we put out effort and we don't go anywhere. And you hear it in entrepreneurs' language. We say things like, I'm spinning my wheels. I just can't get traction. I'm not moving forward. You guys know what I'm talking about? Because see, I don't think we're like the rest of the world. We are driven by one thing: momentum. How many of you feel that, not just read it, right? And there are 3 stages of momentum. See, when we're moving forward, when we're in momentum, we feel alive. When the world is following in your wake, when you're getting what you want, how many of you know what that feels like? What does it feel like? Awesome, okay, that's a good one. Ecstatic, that's a good one. Like, usually I get a lot of sex and drugs words. Again, this is a Mormon room, let's be careful. But isn't that feeling when people like us really feel alive? Like, being in momentum is when we're alive, and anything else is less than that. The second stage of momentum is when we're facing resistance, when we can't overcome what's in front of us, when we don't have enough time, enough effort, enough energy. We don't have what we need. But when we're facing resistance, here's what's crazy about people like us. All we need in the middle of the storm is to be able to see a tiny light at the end of the tunnel. And even though everyone else is going, it's a train. You know what I'm talking about, right? We go towards that light. We compel ourselves towards it. We bring it to us. We step through it, and that's where we create our lives. How many of you have done that? Heck yeah. And then the third state is when we're in constraint. Now, guys, this is serious. Because people like us, when we get into constraint, all kinds of bad things happen. When we are in constraint, that's when we feel like we can't move forward. When we put ourselves in a situation, in a place, when we have the people around us, the things around us that are holding us down, they feel like a boat anchor and we can't create momentum, that is where we break down. How many of you know when you're in constraint, you are physically challenged? Like you break down almost immediately. How many of you have felt that? Right? It's not just physically. When you're in constraint, you are chemically challenged or cognitively challenged. When we feel those feelings of constraint, when we can't get what we want, we absolutely feel like we can't create momentum. Cognitively, it's hard to make decisions. We can't see the next step. And then here's the big one. When we are in constraint, we feel chemically challenged. How many of you have felt the chemical deceleration and depression of a lack of momentum? Okay, so I bring this up on purpose, guys, because people like us, if we have the wrong day and we're in constraint and you get in front of the wrong person, they might write you a thing called a prescription for a pill that cuts off mind-body connection and takes you out of momentum for the rest of your life, because people like us, when we get in, this works in reverse. When you're in momentum, are you physically boosted? Yes. Can you do more? Are you cognitively boosted? And here's the big one. Are you chemically boosted? Because we are that small percentage of the population that are physically sensitive, momentum-based beings that are highly reactive to constraint. How many of you agree with me? So for anyone who's still wondering, I want to make no shadow of a doubt. I want to make sure that every one of you knows you are an entrepreneurial personality type. Because see, there's 4 types of people in the world, and I want you to qualify which one you are. The first type of person in the world is a caretaker. Now, I want you guys to just listen to me and see if you're which one of these you are. So first, caretaker. These are the type of people who like to take care of other people. Quick show of hands. How many of you think you might be one of these? All right, cool. Because in entrepreneurial rooms, a lot of times entrepreneurs say, oh, I'm one of the, I like to take care of other people. But let's be honest. Don't you like to take care of other people from afar? Right? Like, I love all of you over there. Right? See, caretakers like the act of taking care of people. So the disqualification question for caretaker is simple. Do you like to change bedpans? Any hands up? Guys, here's what's weird about people like us. Like, we all laugh. But I've been in a room with somebody who changed a bedpan, and I've said, hey, do you like to change bedpans? And they've looked at me congruently, honestly, like with a presence and said, Alex, if I'm here to help that person and they needed a bedpan changed, I feel fulfilled. I like changing bedpans. I'm always like, holy. I feel like I should have written a much bigger check if I'm doing a bedpan. So, no, not caretakers. Let's go to the second type of person. The second type of person, if you look at our evolutionary human tribe, the tribe we have today, the tribe throughout history, did we need caretakers? Heck yeah, because you guys weren't changing the bedpans. Somebody has to. And they keep our tribe going today. The second group is communicators. Now, these are the people who like to communicate. They like the act of communicating. They like to talk. They like to share. How many of you think you're one of these? Yeah, you're getting shy now because of the joke of the bedpans, huh? Now, here's the disqualification question for communicator. Do you enjoy small talk? Right? Rachel Peterson likes small talk? Come on, Rachel, you're so weird. All right. Like, are you guys like me? The second small talk starts, you're like, how do I escape? Or should I fake a heart attack? Right? It's like, get me out of this conversation. But communicators love small talk. In fact, you put 2 communicators at a water cooler, they will have a 45-minute conversation about a half-hour TV show. I didn't know you could do that. Right? But did our evolutionary tribe need communicators to carry on oral tradition, tell us what was going on, say like, don't go over there, there's a woolly mammoth, don't eat that, it'll kill you? Yes. But not a lot in this room, right? Now, the third type of person is the coordinator. These are the people who like details. They love fine print. They get really excited about contracts, and it's weird. They get excited about a contract because there's a contract, not because there's a deal behind it. Like, what the right? And coordinators are the ones who, like, they love all the red tape, the fine print, all that. So here's the disqualification for coordinator. How many of you enjoy being on committees? Seriously, right? It's like the small talk question, only like if I get put on a committee, I'm like, how do I make all of them pass out? So I can just get stuff done. Did you see? I almost said the bad word. But did our human tribe need coordinators? Yes. Now, if you've ever felt judged or different or like a party of one, or if the people around you have made you feel different, it's probably because you're part of the fourth group. And we are fundamentally different than the other three. So if we look at our human tribe and we have the people who take care of people, the people who keep things in order, and the people who communicate, what are we missing in that evolutionary tribe? What category is missing? The what? The brave people, the leaders, the doers, the evolutionary hunters. Because haven't you always known you are on the hunt? And like a hunter, every time you're approaching a goal, as you make your kill, doesn't it lose importance to you? Right? Isn't it annoying? It's like, 2 Comma Club, 2 Comma Club. Gets closer, closer, closer. Frick 2 Comma Club. Just put it on the wall. I'm going to get something else. Right? Now I'm going for 2 Comma Club X. Because that's who we are. We are the small population in this world that is meant to keep the tribe alive. And that's why we get up every morning and create a new reality, come back to the present and insist it becomes real. That's who we are. And the reason you felt different and judged and looked down on by the rest of the world is if we look at 3 other categories of human being, they live for the present. They want the status quo. They defend the status quo. We scare the out of them. Because whether you're a caretaker, a communicator, or a coordinator, or an entrepreneur gets in the room, you're going to mess their stuff up. Because they just want it to stay the same every day. And we're different. So now that you know you're an evolutionary hunter, I want to ask you a question. How many of you have that small voice in the back of your head that started whispering maybe a while ago saying, hey, you can do more. You can be more. You can give more back. You can create more. You can leave more here. How many of you are hearing that? How many of you are hearing it to the point where it's kind of starting to get louder? How many of you are hearing it to the point where it's getting so loud it's freaking annoying, right? And you're like, enough already. See, that is what happens to people like us. Evolutionary hunters are pre-programmed to get up every day and keep this tribe alive. And every single day, we say, I want to do more, I want to be more, I want to share more, I want to give more back. And here's the challenge for most of us, is that the desire for the contribution we want to make, we don't have the infrastructure or the systems in our lives to actually make it happen. How many of you would agree that there's a major gap between where you want to be and where you are today? Show of hands right now, everyone. All right. I want to solve that for you in the next 30 minutes. I want to show you exactly where you are on the proven path to entrepreneurial success. Because I, like you, was really, really different. But like even in a room full of different people, I stand out as the awkward one. And as a kid, I didn't really do that well in school. How many of you, like me, like took a few classes a few times, not because you liked them, because you had to, right? How many of you dropped out of school because you couldn't remember your schedule in college? That different things on different days really screwed with me. It's hard. And so instead, as a kid, I obsessively read. And once I got out of that personal development stuff that got confusing, I started reading about successful people. Like people throughout history who had done something significant, because I felt like I was so separated, so different from anything that looked like success. I wanted to understand it. And I went and I started reading obsessively, hundreds of life stories, biographies, third-party accounts, journals, anything I could get on my hands on to see what successful people did, to see how they thought, to see how they created that path to success. And here's what happens. If you look at 100 people, they all look different. Success looks like a miracle every time. But you look at hundreds, then thousands. What starts happening is you see clear patterns. And I started seeing a clear pattern in not only the person that was successful, that they were all like us, but in the path they took. We call this the billionaire code. It's the 9 levels of entrepreneurial success that will show you exactly where you are, what you need next, and foreshadow for you what's coming in your life. Now, it starts not on this chart. There's 9 levels on this chart, but the first evolution of the billionaire code is you are out in the crowd. Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say the crowd? Like, this is a crowd, but you're not the crowd. Go to Universal Studios for a day, you will interact with the crowd. I did that for 2 days. I didn't talk to anyone. I've never been so exhausted in my life. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Right? Like, I took my kids to a rodeo in San Antonio. There was 22,000 people there. I never felt so alone in my life. Because when you're in the crowd, it's like general population. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Entrepreneurs and Gen Pop, we don't mix well. But what happens is somebody in the crowd says, wait, I want more. I've decided I can do more. I've decided I can be more. And they graduate to the first level of the billionaire code that we call seeker. A seeker is a beginning entrepreneur. Typically, they only make about $0 to $40,000 a year. There's 16 million registered seeker businesses in the United States today. 16 million. Now, for a show of hands, quick, be proud of who you are. Don't BS. Like, tell me, how many of you here are in this seeker category? Just starting out, just getting ready. Look around, guys. These are the people we need to help. These are the people we need to support. And give them a round of applause for coming clean. Now, as a seeker, here's what happens. Your time, you're just dabbling. Like anybody who sits down with a seeker, they'll usually tell you the 11 things that they're doing. How many of you know what I'm talking about? No revenue, but tons of projects. And when you sit down with a seeker, here's what really needs to happen. When you're starting out, you need to understand your self-identity. Like if you don't resolve that early on, things are gonna get ugly for you later. If you don't know who you are and what you want, it's gonna get weird. And the fallback question that seekers always ask is, how do I stop the pressure and noise in my life right now? Because when you're at an event like this, especially where everyone looks successful, as a seeker, you're like, holy, how do I get into that club? How many of you are feeling that? Rest assured, you can do it here faster than anywhere else. The team is you got to pick a team. You don't really have a team when you're a seeker. And your biggest need is habits, morning routine, daily planning, setting outcomes, personal care. As a seeker, you nail those things and you can start moving forward. The next level of the billionaire code, to graduate, seeker, you have to understand who you serve. You know, earlier when I said do what Russell says, Russell and I were so aligned from the first time that he saw this content because it's exactly what he says. Figure out who your avatar is first. Figure out who you're talking to first. Who's that population you're gonna serve? Far too many entrepreneurs create a product without a market. That is a nightmare. I know, I've done it. It's horrible. It's like screaming down a hallway and nobody cares. But if you understand who you serve, they will come to you. The next level of the billionaire code, when you get out of seeker, you transition to what we call starter. And starter has annual revenues, $40,000 to $100,000. Starter is the second level. 6 million businesses in the United States are starters. 6 million. So guys, there's 29 million businesses in the United States. 22 million of them are under $100,000. How many of you are over $100,000 in revenue? Okay, you're ahead of 22 out of 29 million businesses. Gives you perspective, doesn't it? Gives you a ton of perspective. And the starters, your time is part-time when you're a starter. You haven't really made the commitment yet. Your primary focus is market identity. Who am I going to serve? Your fallback question is, what is wrong with me? Because as soon as you start making revenue, you want to make more, and you feel like it's your fault. How many of you will admit that? Believe me, I spent a few years in the starter wilderness. It's brutal. If you can't get people to come to you, it's painful. That's why ClickFunnels changes things. The team that you have is you, and to graduate here, you create value, monetize value. And the next level of billionaire code is promoter. Now, guys, there's a lot of people here in this room that are at this level of promoter. Promoter is 100 to 300,000 in revenue. There's 1.7 million promoters in the United States. How many of you are in this range? Let's see, show of hands. All right, guys. Promoters, your time is now full time. When you get into this place, you have to commit. When your business starts growing at this rate, you're in it. Your primary focus is lead generation. So you identify your market, clarify your market, start generating leads. Your team is maybe you, contractors, assistants, and your biggest need is to generate leads and convert consistently. So when Russell says, just stop and generate leads, focus on a single offer, this is exactly what he's talking about. That's how you get past here, not with 12 different businesses or 7 different funnels. You focus on one and make it work. And when you get out of promoter to graduate, you generate leads, you convert them consistently, and your business will continue to grow. Now, this is a big one, because you go from promoter to builder. And builder is where you're getting into the 2 Comma Club at the end. This is 300,000 to $1 million. How many in this range? Let's see it. What an incredible group. We've got such a mix. Builders have annual revenue of 300,000 to $1 million. There's 1.9 million in the US. It actually goes up a little bit on this one because there's a lot of doctors, lawyers, accountants, attorneys that get into this place, but they can't get out. How many of you feel like you're trapped in 300 to $1 million? Let's see it. It's tough, isn't it? It's hard to get out of there. And here's what you need to do. The reason it's so hard is because up to 300,000, you thought you were working as hard as you can. Then you get 300 to $1 million and you're working overtime on what you thought was the hardest you could ever work. How many agree with me? It's like like the wheels start coming off and you're working overtime. Your fallback question is, how do I get further ahead? Your team is maybe a partner, a contractor, some assistants, and your biggest need is to leverage sales so you can get over 7 figures. Now, this is a big jump, guys. To graduate here is you build systems and processes around what you do well. Now, at every level of the Billionaire Code, I just want to give you an insight here as I go through it. If I've gone through a level and you're thinking, oh, I haven't done that, but you're beyond that level, that is your Achilles heel. Because anything in any one of these levels, you don't stop doing them. You have to create process and systems and structure and people and an organization and infrastructure around you to continue doing them, or it all comes crumbling down. So in the next level beyond builder, this is where you get to the 2 Comma Club, guys. You graduate from builder to what we call operator. The annual revenue is 1 to 3 million. In the United States, there's only 700,000. Does that give you perspective at how often you hear 2 Comma Club around here? Because this room is a millionaire factory. I mean, there's more operators come out of this system than anything I've ever seen in my life. I've been a professional consultant for 25 years next year, and I've never seen anything like ClickFunnels. Because here's what happens. When you're an operator, you need to delegate your time. You need to focus on delivery systems so that people keep getting a consistent product from you, consistent service. Your fallback question now has to be not how do I get further ahead, but how does my team get me further ahead? Because at this point, you can't do it all alone. There's something amazing about ClickFunnels, though. You can get to $1 million pretty much by yourself. I've never seen a system that consistently does that for people other than this one. But once you get here, you have to start building a team. And as an operator, the team you're building is that first solidified team around you, that one single team that's going to help you grow. How many of you are in the process of building that team right now? Guys, pat yourselves on the back. 90% of entrepreneurs never hire anyone. This is a weird room. In the rest of the world, 22 million businesses under $100,000. They're all sole proprietorships. They don't have people working with them. If you've hired anyone, you're ahead of the world. Last night, I asked somebody how big their team was, and they said, oh, it's just 3 people. I told them, don't ever say just 3 people again. It's 3 people, and be proud, because if you have anyone on your team, you're ahead of most people. The biggest need that you have here is to build a team and scale consistent delivery. And to graduate, you build a team and train them to do what you do well. This is hard for entrepreneurs, right? Really hard. Because we have to let somebody else do all the stuff that only we can do. I said that as a joke. Because there's nothing only you can do. Like, everything can be leveraged. And when you get past this level, you start realizing that when you allow leverage into your life, when you build a team, things go crazy. Because the next level of the Billionaire Code is leader, $3 to $10 million. The leaders, unique. There's only 300,000 in the United States. Doesn't that give you perspective on the 2 Comma Club X awards you heard here? Like, how crazy is it that people are getting into this club or getting past this club in less than 3 years? Never seen anything like it. Never. Brandon and Kaylin sitting back there, they crushed this in under 3 years. So your time is now. Instead of delegating time, this is tough. You have to start delegating success. Instead of just getting people to do stuff for you, you have to go from transactional management to transformational leadership. Here's what that looks like, guys. Transactional management is you tell people what to do, check that it got done, and tell them what to do again. How many of you are doing that right now? How many of you hate it? It's exhausting, isn't it? Transformational leadership is a totally different game. You show people clear outcomes. You coach success along the way, and you get massive leverage results. That switch from one to the other is how you get past this level. Because the question you have to start asking is, how does my team get ahead? Because there's a point as an entrepreneur where what you do most is grow your team, help them, support them, help them create momentum. It's not about you anymore. And believe me, for a lot of entrepreneurs, that whole "it's not about you" is a tough transition. You know who I'm talking about. It's not easy to say, I'm gonna let them do it. To graduate from leader, you recruit and develop a leadership team. And your biggest need is scaling a team that will consistently deliver. Because it doesn't matter how good your product is. You add people in, they're a free radical variable. It changes everything. And you have to get it all back again to where you deliver consistently and people are buying your product, getting what they're asking for from you. And then you can get out of leader and transition to what we call owner. Owner is rarefied air. Only 4 out of 1,000 companies will get to 10 million plus. And it's not easy because for a lot of you in the audience right now, just getting to $1 million sounds like this massive destination. How many of you are feeling that right now? Like, when I get to $1 million, everything will change. Talk to some of the people that are at $1 million. They'll tell you everything changes. At $1 million, you realize just how screwed you are. Right? It's like, oh, it's big enough that it's scary and I can't do it all alone anymore. Well, at 10 million, everything in your world changes, because at 10 million, your fallback question has to be, how does my team get further ahead? Your focus is on culture, recruiting, team development. Like, that's all that matters at that point. It's no longer about you to the 10th power. And your team is now an executive team, leadership teams. You don't just have one level of leadership. You now have 2 levels of leadership. So you have to go from transactional to transformational in a hurry and stay there. And if you can get there, then your team will grow. And your biggest need as an owner at $10 million plus is to scale leadership systems and duplicate your decision-making over an even bigger population, which gets difficult and harder with each person you add. But if you follow this path and you focus here, you'll get exactly what you need to go to the next level. To graduate from owner, you grow a leadership team that can create a second level of leadership in your company. Is this making sense to everyone? Have you already identified where you are? How many of you are realizing you're doing things you don't need to do right now? Right? Because if you just follow this path, you'll get there. We waste way too much time focused on the wrong things at the wrong time. To get out of owner, this gets exciting. You graduate from owner, you go to the next level, which we call investor. The investor has annual revenue of $30 to $100 million. There's only 70,000 of these businesses in the United States. Is that crazy? Starts giving you real perspective on what people here are doing. Investors, your time is you coach and support your team to maximize their return on time. See, your job as an entrepreneur shifts. Are you seeing how your life shifts at each one of these levels? Guys, I want you to see something here. As we go through this billionaire code, you know how people say, what got you here won't get you there. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so I got news for you. What got you here will kick your ass going forward. It will shred you. It will be your Achilles heel. It will be painful. It will hurt. You have to modify behaviors as an entrepreneur because every level of company we run is completely different. Does this make sense? And this one is one of the most dramatic changes because now you have this team where you have to grow a leadership development system, and to graduate, you have to have a system where you have leaders who will consistently use your message and your culture and show people how to behave in your company. And then, if you successfully do this, you can go to a place where almost no one goes. You can go to what we call entrepreneur. See, entrepreneur, the 9th level of the billionaire code, is where you get to $100 million in revenue. In the United States today, there are only 22,000 companies that are at this level. At $100 million in revenue, the entire world changes for an entrepreneur. Our time is we invest and give away leverage time at $100 million. If Richard Branson shows up in a room, is there a value to that? Yeah, he just has to be there and he raises the value of the room. Like if he walks into a room, people will pay to be in that room. Weird, right? Because at $100 million, you have that type of influence as an entrepreneur. It will change how the people around you look at you. Your time is to invest and give it away. Your primary focus is to maximize your legacy and contribution. Your fallback question is, how do we help everyone? And at this point, your team is a full conglomerate team. You have a C-suite. You have directors, managers, leaders. There's an entire organization around you. And your biggest need is to grow your legacy. And I want you to see, to graduate, you scale your influence and contribution. And when we go back to this chart, I want you to see that as you go down this path, every single level, we dynamically change what we're doing, how we're behaving in our company, and what we're focused on. Does everybody see this? But this is the true path to entrepreneurial success. You can't argue with this. It's like gravity. This is how we create success as entrepreneurs. And there's this weird thing that I've recently discovered on the Billionaire Code. See, I've been working with this framework, with this structure. This is exactly what I use to coach people. When I get somebody on the phone, I figure out where they are on the Billionaire Code, figure out if they're doing the right things, and if they're not, I tell them to do the right things. They think I'm a genius. It's my whole structure. Sucks, because most of my high-end clients are in the room. They're like, I could have gotten the PDF. But there's this crazy thing that all of us in this room have access to. It's the ClickFunnels effect. Because it's insane what this system allows you to do. Because when you look at these levels here, market and avatar clarity, leverage lead generation, and leverage sales, there is nothing out there that helps you do this. And I've coached companies from startups all the way to 10 figures. And I'll tell you, this is the struggle for 99% of the companies out there. Having consistent lead generation, consistent conversion, consistent sales, having that system run. And the reason you see companies at ClickFunnels completely changing the game as far as business growth is because this allows you to skip levels in revenue. Here's what happens. If some of you out there are saying, man, I'm at a higher level of revenue, but I don't have that team or all the other stuff, it's because ClickFunnels is an accelerator past the Billionaire Code. You can by yourself with a very small team with this system get to over 7 figures. How many of you have done it? I want to see hands. Look around, guys. With a very small team, barely an infrastructure, you can get to $3 million with ClickFunnels. How many of you have done that? I want to see some hands. So guys, the infrastructure you have to build is much less than the average person on the street trying to grow a company. ClickFunnels allows you this gift of being able to make this perfect, put it on lock, make it so that you can have a dial where you turn up and down how many clients you have. Guys, if you don't have that in your business today, you're red meat for every one of your competitors. But if you can access your clients, turn the dial up, get more of them to come in, your business can grow indefinitely. And ClickFunnels allows you to do that more than any other system I've ever seen. And as you transition through the Billionaire Code, I want to show you some of the major transitions because I think a lot of you are probably in them and show you exactly what it takes to get past them. So there's 9 levels, but there's 4 major transitions. The first one is when you go from apprentice to promoter and you go full-time. How many of you here right now have another job, other income, you're here trying to figure out how to get to full-time? Hands up high, be proud. Congratulations, everyone. The transition to full-time is massive. Now, right at around $1 million, you have to make another transition. It's the transition to leveraging your time. Because up to $1 million, you can just kill yourself and do it. Really. Like, walk out in the hallway at 10:30 at night at a ClickFunnels event, and what will you see? Guys on their computers working on their funnels, right? The bar is near empty, and there's a whole bunch of Wi-Fi bandwidth being used. This event's totally different. The next transition you go through from leveraging time is where you have to go out and aggressively buy as much time as you can. Because as you get further along on the billionaire code, it's all about getting your time back, being there, being present, getting what you want. And then here's the biggest transition. It's when you transition to building your legacy. And I want to point something out to all of you here. Do you see how over here is where you start and over there is legacy? There's a reason. Because far too many entrepreneurs who are barely getting started start working on legacy projects, and it screws them. Because you can't cut your attention in half right now. You can't do two things. Wait until you can fund the legacy project. I would never tell anyone not to start a charity. I just tell you to start it after you can fund it yourself. Entrepreneurs are not good beggars. You know that, right? You all are terrible at asking for help. How do you think you're going to be at asking for money? So work on your legacy projects when the time is right. Drive through the billionaire code and get there so that you can get past that gap in your desire for contribution, and you can close it and actually go out and have the business you want, make the difference you want, and grow a company to 9 figures and beyond. And guys, there's people in this room that are proving it. I pointed out Brandon and Kaylin sitting back there. They got to over $10 million, an 8-figure company in under 3 years. And then in the past couple months, they just launched $1 million company in under 65 days. 65 days. And yesterday, you guys saw Allison Prince up here, who in 1 year went from being in a chair thinking about doing this to being at over 7 figures in revenue. And I don't want to steal any thunder, but one of our clients who's coming up next and is like intense, don't go anywhere, Alex and Layla Hormozy, have grown a business in less than a year to a run rate of over $30 million. I've never seen anything like it. ClickFunnels will pick you up and take you down the billionaire code if you let it, and it's incredible. And here's how we really do this, guys. If you want to close this contribution gap, I want you to understand something about your businesses. There's this whole world of consultants and trainers and speakers who pretend to do what I do and show people how to scale companies. And they say things like, you can have a self-managing business. It'll be easy. You can put your business on autopilot. How many of you have heard this stuff? I call BS. Big time. Like, anyone who says your business can go on autopilot is completely full of crap, and they're trying to steal money from you. And I'm just going to call them out, because the fact is you can't. Success creates deficits. Every time you start succeeding in your business, what you'll find is you create another deficit. So if somebody says you can put your business on autopilot, what they're telling you is they're going to keep it the same size. They're not going to let you grow. And I want every one of you to grow to the capacity you can. And so understand that at each new level of the billionaire code, you're going to see the deficits that are created. But if you can forecast them, foreshadow them, see them coming, you can react in a much more dynamic way. How many of you feel like you're ready to do that? All right. All right, I want to leave you with an equation that I learned from following the lives of successful people. The billionaire code came much, much later. But as I read the lives of successful people, what I saw was that I wasn't finding people that were different from you and I. You know, I was the kid who was super awkward in school. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really get along with people. I went reading about success, and I thought I would find people that were completely different. Einstein didn't talk until he was 4, couldn't tie his shoes. I was like, yes. Smarter than Einstein. I can tie my shoes. Newton discovered gravity, But we don't talk about Newton discovering gravity because he was sitting under a tree by himself because he was crazy antisocial. Thomas Edison was homeschooled because he got kicked out of school for being dumb. The more that I read about successful people, the more that I saw they were just like me with the sensitivities and challenges and issues and all the other things. But they had this process they used throughout their lives to create success. I call it the contribution equation. It's 4 steps. The billionaire code is for your company. This is for you. The first step is entrepreneurs like us, evolutionary hunters. We are more susceptible to the pressure and noise in the world. How many of you would agree? So all of us, step 1 is on a daily basis, you must lower pressure and noise in your life. Here's the problem. In order to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to aggressively lower the pressure and noise in your life. But you look at the average entrepreneur today, and they appear to be in a contest to see who can accept the most pressure and noise. How many would agree with that? It's like, how fast can I overwhelm myself? Seriously, dude, you can't record with 4 cameras at the same time. What are you doing? So you lower the pressure and noise. And I implore you, if you want to be successful, write down everything in your life that is bothering you. The little things and the big things, the people, the places, the things, the light switch that doesn't work, the seatbelt that doesn't buckle. What is it that's bugging you in your life? Because any pressure and noise is operational drag that robs our momentum. This is on and off, guys. It's binary. The people, the places, the things in your life are either giving you momentum or they are taking it away. And my suggestion is you become ruthless. Cut out everything in your life that does not give you momentum. And don't apologize. Because we, as entrepreneurs, will be remembered for our accomplishments, not our behaviors. So get over it and do as much as you possibly can. The second step of the contribution equation, you first lower pressure and noise. Now this next one is hard. You have to ask for protection and support. I call it the entrepreneur's dilemma. We need far more protection and support than the average person to create our full destination, to create our full potential. But any request for help leaves us feeling vulnerable and exposed. How many of you agree? You felt that. So I've got a trick for you. Get over it. Really. And all of that garbage you've heard about, fake it until you make it, never let them see you sweat. Like, what is that really? It's lie and deny. Because if you're not telling people what's really going on, the right thing is never going to show up. And when I go to events like this and I sit down with entrepreneurs, within 30 seconds, I can tell if they're lying to me or not. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When you're like, hey, what do you do? And people switch into that autopilot thing that they do, right? It's like, whoa, we're not doing a webinar. What do you really do? You know what I'm talking about? And when you ask for protection and support, when you're transparent with the people around you, you let them know what's going on, this magical thing happens. The right help shows up. So you lower pressure and noise. You ask for protection and support. You ready for this? Here's the third one. Your strengths and abilities will go up. They will show up in a different way. Here's what we do as entrepreneurs instead. We create tons of noise in our lives. We don't ask for help and we go try and learn everything. And we isolate. And we get into an echo chamber, and we shut the door, and we close the blinds, and we're like, I'm going to solve it all by myself. How many of you have been doing that? Glad you still made it. Because it can drive us crazy. But as entrepreneurs, check this out. When we lower the pressure and noise in our lives, when we increase protection and support, we just get better at everything we do. How many of you would say that most of your success today comes from what you learned in school? Hands up high. There's usually one that I like to make fun of, but they're not daring today. Oh, there was one. Anyway. So for the rest of us, where does it come from? It comes from the in-betweens, guys. It comes from the time we give ourselves. It comes from the space that we learn. It comes from absorbing and seeing and doing, experimenting and experiencing. And the way we do that the most is we lower the noise in our lives. We increase the protection and support, and our strengths and abilities will show. You will get better at everything you do when the noise is down and you have more help. Do you agree? All right. And now the fourth step, and this is the big one, because it's what every single one of us wants. It's what that chart says. When you lower the pressure and noise in your life, and you increase protection and support, and you allow your strengths and abilities to show, you can go out and make your greatest contribution. Because that's what we're really all here for, isn't it? As entrepreneurs, we want to make a living, we want influence, we want affluence, all of those things. But for me, and I'm assuming for all of you, isn't it really about making a massive contribution? Isn't it really about the change you want to make in the world? Because that's how you do it. You lower the pressure and noise in your life. You increase protection and support. Your strengths and abilities will show, and you can go make your greatest contribution. And I want to make something very clear. When I say contribution, I'm a capitalist. I'm not saying go out and start a charity. Not that I would discourage you from it, but I think you should start a business and fund the charity instead. Because in a capitalist world that we live in, capital flows to the greatest contribution. So just shortcut it, make a massive contribution, and you'll get all the money you want. Because that's what we really do as entrepreneurs. And so for all of you, I want to thank you for your time today. And I want to leave you with a thought. As you grow your businesses, as you make your greatest contribution, as you create the success that creates deficits, I want you to remember something. Your business is broken, and if things go right, it always will be. Because people like us don't build perfect systems. We build adaptable systems that grow over time, that make a bigger contribution. And we don't build companies, we build empires, because every one of us has known for a long time that somewhere, somehow, we are meant to do more, to be more, to change this planet, leave our dent in the universe, and make things happen here. And that is who we are. So to all of my fellow entrepreneurial personality types and evolutionary hunters, let's go get into momentum and make our greatest contribution. Thanks, everyone.
All right, welcome back. How do you guys feel after that? Are you excited to understand kind of the process and the path and where you are and who you are and why you're not different and why you're not broken? I hope you guys understood that and hopefully you enjoyed that a lot. And for those of you guys who've never been to Funnel Hacking Live yet, you're like, oh, this is what everyone keeps talking about. This is what I'm missing. These are the presentations. This is the network. These are the people that I want to be around. Hopefully you guys have a chance to come next year's Funnel Hacking Live so you can experience this as well. As much fun as this is virtually, I can't wait to be in a room with all of you, hanging out, talking, sharing at an even more intimate level. All right. So I'm gonna move on to my next presentation, and I'm excited. We're gonna start moving slowly up the value ladder, talking about the next set of funnels and things like that that are important to understand. So this session right here is session number 4. I'm calling this Unboxing Funnels. Now people always ask me, Russell, why do you call these unboxing funnels? And if you read the new version of the .com Secrets book, I talk a little bit about this and why I call it that. But unboxing funnel is it's basically because of this. If you look at and tomorrow morning, I'm going to talk about offers, how to create an offer. But in all of our businesses, we're creating an offer, right? So we create this amazing offer, and there's 2 kind of ways that we can sell it, okay? One way to sell is we do a presentation, right? So we do a presentation like a webinar or something like that. And we give a presentation like, here's the offer, here's all the things in the offer. And usually these are selling for a lot of money, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, right? And so I'll be talking about presentation funnels actually tomorrow. I'll be going to talk about presentation funnels. So that's one way to sell an offer. The other way to sell an offer is to take this huge stack, take all the stuff you would have sold normally for $1,000 on a webinar or at a live event or something like that, and you're going to take it and you're going to unbox it. You're going to pull the pieces out. So I have a box here. I'm going to start pulling things out of it, and I sell just one part. So maybe somebody buys this first, and the upsell is they buy the next 2 things, and the next upsell. So I'm taking this offer and I'm breaking it out over multiple different pages. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of what an unboxing funnel is. I was thinking about this from the e-commerce side. If I have a box, like right now, everything in this box right here, if I was to go and actually buy this, I think the retail price is like $300 or so, right? But if I tried to sell you $300 of Fiber Fix, a lot of you guys are like, there's no way. But if I can give you 1 roll and upsell you 2 more and 3, like it becomes really easy. It's a slippery slope and it's easier to sell them. Okay, it's the same reason why I sell my books the way I do, right? We have free plus shipping funnels to sell our books. And the reason why is because it's easier to sell a free book than to sell like, here's my $1,000 course with the book and the workshop and the home, like all these things, right? We unbox them and we sell just one piece on each page inside the funnel. So I'll show you guys tons of examples, but that's why I call it an unboxing funnel. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on during this presentation right now. Okay, and so unboxing funnels is the second tier up here on the value ladder. And again, there's book funnels, cart funnels, and challenge funnels. Like I said, after dinner tonight, we're gonna do a bonus session on challenge funnels. For those who are interested and want to learn more about how we do our challenge funnels, that'll be after dinner. But right now, I'm gonna talk about these two other ones, which are a book funnel and a cart funnel. Now, if you look at this, a book funnel and a cart funnel are very similar. Okay, a book funnel is really good if you're selling information, coaching, consulting, things like that. And a cart funnel is almost the same as you'll see. There's some differences and some intricacies. This is if you're selling physical products. So I'm gonna show you guys both of these behind the scenes, how they work, and we'll kind of walk you through everything here in the next 30 minutes or so, okay? But I'm gonna start first off with book funnels, and then from there we'll move into cart funnels, okay? So funnel number one we're talking about is a book funnel. And so most of you guys have seen my book funnels, I'm assuming. This was the brand new Traffic Seekers book funnel. How many of you guys had a chance to go through this funnel? Yeah. How many of you guys, when you bought through this funnel, you bought slowly because you're like, I want to see every step in the process. I want to understand what Russell's doing and why he's doing it. Okay? I know that I spent 18 months writing the book, and I spent that entire 18 months brainstorming how to build this funnel. So when I built it, man, like if for anyone who's a funnel hacker like me, I hope you bought slowly and watched the process, because every single thing here was thought through, was strategized. It wasn't something I just made up. I literally looked over 100 different book funnels to build this one. I looking at ideas and things, and then we split tested a million different things, and this is what kind of came out of it. So again, anytime you're buying anybody's products, always slow down and buy things slowly so you can see the process. Right? That's what funnel hacking is all about, is getting ideas from different things. So I'll kind of break this funnel down here in a minute so you can understand it. But if you go to any of my book funnels, TrafficSecrets.com, Secrets, Expert Secrets, all of them follow this model very, very closely, and all of them have sold, hundreds of thousands of copies of all the books, okay? So this is the typical structure of a book funnel, okay? There's the sales pages, there's the upsell pages, and the thank you pages. That's kind of the structure if I was to sit on a whiteboard and doodle them out. Now, one thing I want to stress is that right now I'm saying book funnel, and some of you guys are like, that's awesome, Russell, but I haven't written a book, so I'm gonna discount everything you say. Well, we understand that I call it a book funnel, but it doesn't have to be just for books. I use book funnels for all sorts of information. For example, a little while ago, I took my first 257 episodes of my podcast, I put them on a free MP3 player, and I used a book funnel to sell them. Okay, so it wasn't a book, I just used the book funnel. But I was doing a free MP3 player, free plus shipping MP3 player with the 257 episodes on this. And this actually, we launched this, and this got our the Marketing in Your Car podcast. Back in the day, that's what I used to call it. Got it to the #1 on iTunes for 3 or 4 months by using this funnel. Okay, another example, this is my perfect webinar script. Okay, this is not a book. In fact, like for me, a book's a big process for me. It took me almost a year and a half to write every single one of these books. And then one day I remember like we needed a new offer, so I just put together the perfect webinar, which is literally one piece of paper and then a CD of me explaining the piece of paper. Okay, we took that, put it online, free plus shipping, used the book funnel, and this actually out-converted my book funnels, which is crazy because it took me an hour to build this one versus a year and a half to write a book. So you don't have to write a book. It can be any kind of information, right? Through a CD player, MP3, a piece of paper, like a report. Like there's a lot of ways to do this. We just call it a book funnel because that's what it was traditionally used for, but it can be used for any kind of information, okay? All right, number two. Next thing I want to talk about is the structure of the actual sales page for a free plus shipping book style funnel. Okay, and this is true in a book funnel and also a cart funnel. If you look at the structure of the page, it's the very top section is, there's 3 sections. There's emotion, logic, and fear. If you look at when we try to sell anything to anybody, we have 3 tools. Okay, the first tool and the most powerful way to sell anything is by using emotion. Okay, so if you look at any sales argument, we always lead with emotion because people buy things emotionally, but then they justify them logically. Okay, so I lead with emotion. So the top third of my page is all my emotional arguments about why you should buy this product. And the majority of the people will buy the product without ever scrolling down. Okay, all my emotional buyers, I think it's like probably 50% of the sales come from people that have never scrolled past the initial page. They see the video, they see the thing, they feel the emotion of the offer, and they just buy. Okay, so that's the first 50%. Okay, after that, there's a big percentage you're like, this seems amazing, but they're the logical buyers. How many of you guys are the logical buyers in the room? You may feel the emotion, you feel the tug, you're like, I gotta justify this because I gotta explain it to my spouse, myself, I gotta justify it with my bank account, right? So the next tier are the logical buyers. So as you scroll down then, the second portion of the page is all speaking to the logic. This is for the logical buyers. This is what I'm talking about, all the features and the benefits and why this is important. And like, I'm trying to logically convince somebody that they need this offer. Okay, that's the second thing. I would say the next 30% of your sales come from logic. So we got 50% comes from emotion, 30% comes from logic, and then the last set are the people, no matter how good the offer is, how much they feel, they will not buy unless you're gonna take it away from them. I'm curious, okay, we promoted this event for 2.5 weeks. We sold 5,000 tickets. The last 2,000 tickets came in the last 48 hours. How many of you guys bought in the last 48 hours before you showed up here? Oh, look at all those hands. So you guys are my fear-based. Urgency and scarcity is the thing that gets you to move. Okay, so if you look at any of our pages, any of our campaigns, we always lead with emotion because the majority of your buyers come through emotion. Then we follow up with logic, and then we end with fear, urgency, and scarcity. And that's how you get the majority of your people to buy through. Okay, now this is true on the landing page. That's what I want to show here. But just so you guys know, this is true in all of our marketing. Look at email campaigns. We lead the first couple emails always are emotion. Next ones are logic. Last ones are fear. If you look at a retargeting campaign, if someone comes to your page, they leave. The first set of ads are emotion. Then we switch to logic, and we switch to fear. If you look at every single sequence, every single thing we do to sell anything, it always goes emotion, logic, fear. Okay, but definitely on the landing page. So here's the landing page. So go back to .com-secrets.com, expertsecrets.com, trafficsecrets.com. Go back to any of my pages and just notice this. Notice the top third of the page is all emotion. Then you scroll down, you see all the logical arguments, and I end with urgency and scarcity and fear. Okay, so that's how we structure the page. So now we talk about the top third, the top section through emotion. So the top section typically looks like this. There's the video of me telling the story about why this product's amazing. Right? And then on the right-hand side, here's a thing called two-step order form. And this is one of the most powerful things about ClickFunnels. We used to build these two-step order forms by hand. It was a huge nightmare, and I was building when I was building ClickFunnels. When Todd was building ClickFunnels, I was looking over shoulder like, make it do this. That'd be amazing if we did this. I told him, I was like, can we build a two-step order form? And he's like, sure. So he built this thing, and now we've been using it, and it's one of the most popular features inside of ClickFunnels, okay? The way the two-step order form comes is someone comes here, and step number one, they put in all their information, name, email, shipping address. And then page number 2, then you ask them for their credit card. And if they fill out step 1 and not step 2, you can send out certain email sequences to get them back to finish filling out the form. But it's just really, man, we've tested this thing a million times and back. It's just one of the most powerful tools. That's a two-step order form, and it is so vitally important on both book funnels as well as cart funnels. Okay, it just works. It's like magic. Okay, so that's two-step order form. Step 1, you get shipping address. Step 2 is credit card. The second phase where you make money on is what we call the order form bump. Okay, so again, step number 1 is here, and step number 2 then is where they put in their credit card. And we've tested this a million different ways, but between where they put in the credit card and where you have the submit button, in between those two things, it can't be above, it can't be below it. Between the credit card form and that, there's a thing we plug in called an order form bump. And this is basically like your really quick sales that happen right there, right? I always imagine myself, if I'm at the grocery store, I got my shopping cart, I just bought all my groceries, I'm walking down the checkout stand, I get there, and all of a sudden, what do you see? For me, it's the orange Tic Tacs. Those things are so good. I can't say no to orange Tic Tacs. I'm like, boom, orange Tic Tacs. And if there's like a peanut butter Snicker, I'm like, oh, peanut butter Snicker. And it's like, oh, National Enquirer. It's like, boom, this is all the stuff. Like, you didn't come to buy orange Tic Tacs, right? But you're in the checkout stand about to get through, you're like, oh, I'll take that. Oh, I'll take that. That's what the order form bump is. The order form bump is the last thing someone's going through. It's like, oh, by the way, do you want the audiobook? Like, oh yeah, actually yes, boom, right? It's the Tic Tac, it's the Snickers bar, it's the National Enquirer on your way out the stand, okay? So the order form bump, the thing about it, the offer has to be structured in a way where it's a no-brainer. Like, you can't have a long form copy to sell. It's like one paragraph or one sentence. Like one-time offer, audiobook, 4 more. Do you want the audiobook? Click yes, right? Oh, do you want Traffic Secrets Live? Click yes. So we have 2 order form bumps on this page, and it's done really, really well for us. Okay, now if you do this correctly, the order form bump here will actually cover all your advertising costs. Okay, on all of our book funnels, the order form bump actually pays for all the Facebook ads. So everything we make after that's pure profit. So the order form bump is one of the greatest gifts that ClickFunnels has given mankind, is having this thing, because it gives you the ability to make most of your offers for free. That's why we do so many free plus shipping offers like this, because you give away the free plus shipping, the order form bump covers the ad costs, and all the upsells are just pure profit. Okay. All right, so again, there's the structure of the book funnel. So number 1, we got the step 1 here. We've got the sales page. We got the order form bump. Now we move on to the upsell pages. Okay, so the upsell page. So upsell page, sometimes we call them OTO pages. It sounds like one-time offer, an upsell page. Okay. Now, one thing you have to understand, and this is going to be different. Okay, for books versus physical products. Okay, there's a rule on both of these, and they're both different. So understand that. If I'm selling a book, information, the upsell can't be more of the same thing. Okay. First time I learned this is we were selling our book. It was 108 split tests. They bought the thing, so I thought in my head, okay, if somebody buys 108 split tests, it means they're interested in split testing. So my first upsell was an entire split testing course, right? And what I found out is like hardly anybody bought the split testing course. And I was like, why is this not working? I'm confused. And I had a friend actually called me up. His name's Tim Irway. He called me on the phone. He's like, hey man, how's your upsell doing? I'm like, why do you ask? He's like, it's doing really bad, huh? I'm like, how do you know that? Like, I'm so confused. He's like, because I just bought I went through the funnel. I bought the book about split testing. The upsell was more things on split testing. He's like, my itch was already scratched. And they might explain to me, he said, think about this. He's like, if you go to let's say you went to an ebook to buy an ebook about how to get 6-pack abs, right? So I buy the ebook about how to get 6-pack abs. Okay? He's like, as soon as you buy the product, even though you don't have six-pack abs yet, in your mind, that problem's already been solved. The itch has already been scratched, right? I bought the ebook about how to get six-pack abs. I'm like, sweet, I got abs now. Then the first episode was like, hey, do you want a video course on how to get abs? You're like, but I just bought abs. I already have abs, right? It's because that the conversion rate goes down. So the upsell is not more of the same thing when you're selling information. Okay, this is different on physical products, but information is not more of the same thing. Okay, the question is when they buy the first product, their itch has already been scratched. So what is the problem or the opportunity that the first offer created that now that you can solve through one-time offer? Okay, so my split testing book was like, hey, buy the split testing. And then the offer that converted well in the upsell was like, hey, you just bought the split testing manual. You got everything you need about that. But the biggest way to increase your split test is you need more traffic coming through. So I'm going to give you this course showing you how to increase your traffic so you can run more split tests and blah, 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 blah. Okay, because it was the next logical thing. If they just bought split tests, the next thing they need traffic. Okay, that's how it was for my business. If I'm selling how to get six-pack abs, the first upsell might be like, okay, you got six-pack abs now, but what happens when you go to McDonald's? What are you going to eat? Let me sell you my guides about what kind of food you can eat at a restaurant, right? Something like that. It's the next logical thing, okay? So the first upsell, the first one-time offer is the next logical thing, okay? Sometimes you can plug in a downsell. So for example, on the One Funnel Away Challenge, we have it's one funnel away is $100, and if they say no to that, okay, then we downsell them a $47 version that's just the digital stuff, right? So they don't have to get the box and like all the stuff we send them out. So you can also use downsells here inside of your funnels that are optional as well. You can have multiple upsells, upsell number 2 here. Again, we come back to the same thing. What's the next logical thing? And then we have the thank you page, okay? So that's kind of how it works. Now, a couple of things to explain about, just so you guys can see kind of the metrics and how this works, right? If you think about this, like a traditional author, they can't advertise their books. Like this right here, these are some of my friends who've all written books. You look at Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book's $15.95. So if he wants to go spend money on Facebook or Google to sell his books, he can spend up to $15.59, and then he's losing money, right? Okay, when you start using a funnel, it makes it possible to sell tons of books without a budget. The reason why we're able to sell thousands of books, all 3 of these books, every single week in and week out, like clockwork, is because we have a funnel. We have no advertising budget, and this is why. Okay, the first thing you have to understand is some very basic marketing math. Okay, this is going to be true both on books and also on the cart funnels, the e-commerce stuff. So I just want to make sure you understand it up front. The 2 magic numbers we look for, number 1 is called CPA. It says cost per acquisition. How much money does it cost to acquire a customer? Okay, so for me, how much money does it cost to sell one of these books? Okay, so in this example right here, CPA is $23. It cost me $23 in ads to sell a book. The second metric is called ACV, average cart value. So that means on average, when somebody comes through and they buy my book, how much money do they spend on average in the upsell flow? Okay, and this is how the game is played. So if I spend $23 to sell a book, but I make $37 in the funnel, then I'm profitable. I can keep spending as much money as I want, right? So let me walk you guys through the actual metrics of an actual live campaign. Okay, so this is for the Expert Secrets book. So step number 1 was to buy the ads, right? So we averaged about $23 to sell a copy of the Expert Secrets book when I made these slides. Okay, about $23 per book. Okay, so that's the first number. That's my cost per acquisition. Okay, so when I placed the ad, they came to the page right here, right? They bought the book. The book was $7.95. So my cost per acquisition was $23, but I made $7.95. So my average cart value is $7.95. Now, right now, I'm upside down, right? I'm losing money. This is why most authors can't sell their books, right? I spent $23, I made $7.95. This is a bad business, right? But luckily, that's only the first page in the funnel, okay? So now we go to page number 2 in the funnel. Now we have the order form bump I just talked about. So right now in this funnel, when I was pulling the stats, 20.8% of the people who came through this funnel took me up on the $37 order form bump, okay? So of everyone who came through and bought a book, 20.8%, so 1 out of 5 people bought the order form bump for $37. So you take that math on that, and you divide it out. It means I increased my average cart value. I added an extra $7.70 to my average cart value. So my average cart dollar is $15.65, okay? So right now from the first page of the order form bump, I spent $37 to acquire, or whatever it was, $23? Yeah, $23 to acquire the customer, and then I've made $15.56. So I'm still upside down, but I'm getting closer to break even, right? So I'm still losing money, but I'm closer to break even. Now they go to OTO number 1, special offer number 1, okay? OTO number 1 happens, it's $97 offer. Right now in this funnel, 9.92% of people who come to this page and hit it say yes to the offer, and $97. What that does is it increases my average cart value to $25.27. So now I'm spending $23 to sell a book, and I'm making $25. So now I'm a little bit over break even, right? This funnel's finally starting to make some money. Now, obviously, I have cost of the book and the shipping, so I'm not actually profitable yet, but it's super, super close. I'm right about break even, right? But luckily for me, now that I've taken the OTO number 2. So OTO number 2 happens. It's a $297 course. 4.19% of people say yes to that offer, which increases my average cart value now on average to $37.31. Okay, does that make sense? So now I'm averaging that. So what happens means I'm paying $23 to sell a book, and I'm making $37.71. Okay, so that's how it works. So I pay $23 to sell a book. It's my cost per acquisition to acquire a customer, right? My average cart value is I'm making $37.71 during the funnel at point of sale, right? Right when they show up. So what happens then, when all said and done, is that I made $14.71 profit, but I got the most important thing. I got a customer. I didn't get a customer for free. I got a customer for better than free. I got someone handed me $14.71 and a customer. And then I was able to give my book, the bottom of the value ladder. They read that. This is amazing. And also now they're in the flow. Now they're on the yellow brick road, right? So that's how we play this game. Now for me, again, I can spend as much money as I want. I can spend $23, make $37 all day long. I don't have an advertising budget. I can spend as many dollars in ads as possible. Okay? And that's how we play this game. Now what happens over time is your cost per acquisition will go up and your average cart value will go down. So the way we do is we run these things so it's like, let's say and like when you first launch a new campaign, it'll be lower and it'll be higher. So like, I think the next one I'm actually gonna show you this. Yeah, I'll show you the actual numbers, the traffic secrets, okay? So again, when your average cart value is bigger than your ad spend, then you can grow your company without limits. Okay, so that's the game we try to play. How do we nail a funnel? How do we nail it so we can get a funnel that's completely profitable? Now we can buy as many ads as possible profitably. Okay, so again, here's the traffic secrets book funnel. Now I'm gonna show you guys the stats after the very first week after we launched. I pulled these stats out, and this is kind of what they look like. Okay, so this is how much we were spending in Facebook ads. And so there was, some of the ads were $12.48 to acquire customers, some were $22, some were $15, $28, but the average of all those was $14.69. So my average cost to acquire customers, $14.69, okay? They came into this funnel, they go through upsells, downsells, everything, and they come out the back end, and our average cart value in this funnel was $71.25. Okay, so spending $14.69, I was making $71.25. Okay, it's huge, right? I can start growing this thing like crazy. That's how we sold 100,000 copies of the Traffic Secrets book in the first month or so. Because I can dump as much money as I want in because we get that money back immediately plus a profit. Okay, that's the power of these funnels, you guys. Does that make sense? Now, what will happen over time is that, as will always happen, is the ad cost will start going up. Okay, and the cart value will start going down, but you keep running it until it gets to the point where it's at break even, and then you can do some changes. In fact, the next presentation you're gonna hear from after this one is from Dean Graciosi. He's gonna talk about creative and how you get people, how you drop your ad costs and a bunch of other things, okay? But this is the game. This is like, I don't know about you, this is like my favorite part of it. Like sit down, brainstorm a funnel, create the offers, put it all together, launch it, and if we get to the point where I'm spending $14 to make $71, and I'm getting a customer every single time coming through the front door, like now we have a company we can scale quickly. Okay, and that's how we've grown ClickFunnels, as you guys know. People come through these funnels, they buy a product, we get a customer, and then we introduce that customer to ClickFunnels. And that's how we've been able to grow ClickFunnels as big as it has without any venture backing, is by following this process. Okay, so that's how we do a book funnel. Okay, now I want to transition to this other side, because I know a lot of you guys are sitting here saying, again, Russell, this is awesome, but I'm not selling information products, I sell physical products. How does this relate to me? So the second type of funnel I want to talk about is the cart funnel. Okay, the cart funnel looks very, very similar, as you guys will see here. Okay, it looks very, very similar. So you come back here to the unboxing funnels, the same thing, but it's for selling the physical products part. Okay, so here's an example of a cart funnel. Okay, again, the structure and layout is very similar. I'm actually going to show you guys this one here in a second. But before we do, I want to kind of show you an example to get the wheels in your head spinning. Okay, this is an example from Marcus Lemonis. So he spoke at the second Funnel Hacking Live. If you know Marcus Lemonis, he's the star of the TV show The Prophet. He's also the CEO of Camping World, and he came to our event, and one of the coolest guys I've ever met. And we had a chance to talk to him about funnels, and just like one of the coolest experiences of my life. And after he was done, he called me up and he was like, "Hey Russell, would you like to be on the show The Prophet?" And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Yeah, come on and build a funnel for one of the companies." And so if you haven't seen, if you go back and you watch the Flex Watches episode of The Prophet, I was on the show. I got to build a funnel live on like CSNBC, which was insanely cool. I guess it wasn't live, it was recorded, but it played on CSNBC. It was really cool. So that was really, really special. But before he let me do that, he's like, "I want you to build funnels for some of my companies." He's like, "Would you be willing to do that?" I said, "Sure." So he gave me a bunch of his companies for his portfolio, like Sweet Pete's, Inca Shoes, Paw Pack, a bunch of things like that. And one of them was for Camping World. He said, "Can you build a funnel for Camping World? Like, I understand it for this kind of company, but what about Camping World? We're this huge company that sells RVs. Could you do one for Camping World?" I was like, "I guarantee I can. It'll be easy." And then I left. I was like, "Okay, how am I going to do this? I don't really know how to build a funnel for Camping World. Like, that's crazy." And so the first thing we did is we went down Camping World. We started researching, trying to figure out what product or service we can sell. And so this is actual footage we caught of us while we were in Camping World as we were structuring out what the offer was going to be inside of the Camping World funnel. You guys want to see this? Okay, check this out. So we came here to Camping World, and we asked them, like, what's your number one best-selling product in the entire store? And like 3 people told us the same thing. Boom. What is it, Dave?
Toilet paper.
What kind of toilet paper, though? It's very special.
It's very, very special. This is actually biodegradable, and it's made specifically for RV and marine. And so it's RV and marine sanitation system.
All right, so toilet paper is the front. So when you're free plus shipping offer on toilet paper, plus typically you don't just want to buy 4 packs of toilet paper, especially if you're on a big trip, you need a lot more. So we're gonna have some order form things, increase the value there, right? So now we know a couple things. We know that they have an RV, and we know that they are concerned about toilet paper, right? So what do we know next? What's next in the queue?
Now they've got this in there. Now it's in the toilet, basically it's in this tank. Now they got to make sure the tank works right and the tank actually flushes correctly so it can drain and so it doesn't smell, and that it breaks everything down quickly. So to break it all down quickly, they have the BioPack, which is
their second best-selling product in the whole store.
Crazy.
So poop. We're talking about poop here, you guys, in case you're wondering. So these smell good. So this is gonna be the order form bump. Boom. All right. They're wiping their butt. Smells good in the camper. What's next? Oh no. What happens if the poo overflows and it's a huge mess? So boom.
Now my tank's full. I got to get rid of all this crap. Literally, the crap that's in my tank. I got to get rid of it. So I have a new swivel fits. This is the Rhino Flex. 15-foot. What is this thing?
It pushes the crap out of the RV. So now you guys know something with the theme, right? There's tons of stuff here in Camping World, but we're trying to figure out the theme that you're bringing somebody through. So logically, there's logic between page by step inside the funnel. And after we have protected their yes, and then we made it smell good, and then we got rid of it. How else can Camping World protect their customers? And this is the answer. Boom. The Good Sam Roadside Service Club.
Because you don't want to be sitting on the toilet there, and all of a sudden your RV doesn't start back up, and now you're running out of toilet paper, and it stinks, and it smells bad, and you got to get rid of this stuff as fast as you can. So get on the phone, call Good Sam. They'll get your RV moved out of the way so you can dump.
Boom. So there you go. Funnels. There is an e-commerce funnel out of a store. We can do this in Walmart. We can do any store you want, but we're doing it here today. We're going to prove this thing goes live. We're going to make some money.
Drop the mic
for Marcus. Drop the toilet paper.
Drop toilet paper.
What do you guys think? You guys excited too?
This is good, guys.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go make this funnel now. Bye. Oh man, that was a fun project. So then we went back and we started making the funnel. So first page, number one. We used the cart funnel, which looks very similar to a book funnel, right? So we go away 4 rolls of our fastest dissolving toilet paper for free right now. We made a little animated video there, and we had a free offer here. You clicked on that, took you 2-step order form. They bought the thing. And from there, we had the order form. The order form bump was the make my septic smell good offer. We threw in that right there. Then page number 2, OTO number 1 was the sewage removal kit, and OTO number 2 was the Good Side Sam service thing, the Good Sam service. And so that was the funnel. Okay, you guys see how this works? So many times people who are in physical products, they go and they have an Amazon store with like 20 different SKUs or 100 SKUs. Or they have a Shopify store with 1,000 different SKUs. And that's the equivalent of having Camping World. Okay, I can't go buy ads profitably to Camping World because you walk in like, what am I looking for? I don't know. And they walk around, they're confused, and they leave. I got to figure out, like, what's the best selling thing of all the things in my product line? What's the best selling thing I can have? And then I put it in first. And then logically, after I have that, what's the next thing they need? We take them through a sequential order. Okay, that's the power of e-commerce funnels. Okay, it's really, really fun. So the structure of e-commerce funnel again looks very, very similar to the structure of a book. Okay, instead of a book, the offer is a physical product, and we have our order form bumps: upsell 1, upsell 2, upsell 3. Okay, it's not the structure doesn't shift a lot. The biggest thing is understanding the logic of how the upsell structure works. Okay, I told you before, book funnels, what we sell someone is the next logical thing. Right? Their itch has already been scratched. We got to sell them the next logical thing. With physical products, it's different. With physical products, instead of selling them the next logical thing, eventually you do, but what you normally do is you sell more of the product at a discount, okay? Now you don't do that with info products. I don't sell more of the same thing, but in physical products, I do. The first time I understood this was when I was funnel hacking, when I was launching my supplement company. Some of you guys have heard me tell the story before, and I went through this process with the Marine D3 offer. So I went to the sales page, went to the thing on the page, they sold 4 bottles of supplement, and then the upsell was 6 more bottles of the exact same thing. And I remember thinking that the guy thought I was a drug addict. I'm like, why would I want more of the same thing? But it was more of the same thing at a discount. I was like, crap, I just bought 4. I want to run out. These ones are discount. I'm going to buy some more. I bought 6 more bottles right there. And then the next thing took me the next product in the SKU, right? It was this product right here. And then it took me through that, right? But it was more of the same thing. That was the difference in the upsell flow. Okay. So when we launched Neuracell, our product, we did the exact same thing. We had our product, we had sold 4 bottles, then we upsold more of the same thing. And then we took them through the other products in our product line, the other SKUs in our product line. Okay. But that's kind of what happened. So I want to tell you guys a story. So this is a couple of years ago. And it was right after, you guys remember the poopery video that came out that Harmon Brothers did, where they got the unicorn pooping on and turning into ice cream. And so I don't know about you, I saw that video, I was like, this is the most amazing video in the history of the world. Like, I want to hire these guys to make a video for ClickFunnels. So I called them up and tried to get a hold of them, and it took me a little while, and finally got a hold of them. And I got a hold of him through LinkedIn because I looked at one of the founders, and he had just messaged me. And I was like, oh, weird. I was like, dude, I was trying to get a hold of you. And he's like, oh, I was trying to get a hold of you. I said, why? And he said, well, we just launched a new viral video over here for a product called FiberFix. You ever heard of it? I'm like, no. He's like, go check out the video. And I watched the video, and it was one of the most amazing videos of all time. In fact, I'll show it to you here in a second. But they said that they launched this thing and they had a Shopify store that had all the FiberFix SKUs there. And so the people were coming, they're watching the video, they're getting tons of traffic, and then they were hitting this Shopify store like they were hitting a brick wall. People would show up and there's a whole bunch of stuff and they look around and then they left. He's like, I heard that the thing we need is this funnel. I don't know what a funnel is, but I heard it's like the most amazing thing in the world. Can you build us a funnel? And I said, I will do that if you will build me a viral video. And so we did a little swapperoo. We built them a funnel, they built us a viral video. And it was crazy is the last year Funnel Hacking Live, the Harmon Brothers actually came on stage and got a 2 Comma Club award because now they build all their funnels inside of ClickFunnels for all the viral videos they launch, which was a really special moment. I didn't even know they'd won one until I'm standing on stage. All of a sudden they walked up. I was like, dude, I didn't know you guys won an award. And so we gave them hugs and it was really exciting. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys this funnel that we built for him. But before we do, just because like this is one of the greatest videos of all time, and I know we got kids watching this as well, I want you guys to watch this video. It's the FiberFix viral video that launched this this product, this company, and we had a chance afterwards to create the funnel to catch all the traffic, which was really cool. So with that said, I'm gonna cue up the FiberFix video.
What happens when you flip a car with the roll cage held together by duct tape? That was a dummy. I'd never get in that car. It's held together by duct tape. But what if you use tape as strong as steel? Manliness. Strong as steel. Here's the thing, you're manly. Your shovels break, your pipes leak, your muffler falls off, because a manly man will not be muffled. So you need a manly solution for those manly problems. Duct tape is temporary and only gets you so far. It keeps the pieces together without actually making things work again. Like my birth did with my parents' marriage. The hardware store may have new shovels and fresh pipes, but a manly man doesn't want to spend his Saturday at a store. Unless store is a code word for a big screen TV that feeds you nachos while you fart. You could call a handyman or a plumber, but they charge you for a consultation, plus the price of any new parts, plus labor, plus your dignity, and your wife, depending on how sexy your plumber is. Well, now there's a manly solution for your manly problems. FiberFix. FiberFix is a special tape that's strong as steel. That's not an expression, it's literally as strong as steel. I'm not prone to hyperbole. FiberFix can be used anywhere. Got a busted pipe? FiberFix it. But only if you want that pipe to function properly for the rest of your mother-loving life, boy, because FiberFix is strong, permanent, and 100% watertight. Repairs like that can cost hundreds of dollars. Fix it yourself with FiberFix and spend the rest of the savings on something manly, like hunting equipment, or a diversified stock portfolio that's sensible yet aggressive enough to expect a reasonable ROI, because that's manly too. A quick FiberFix can save your Saturday. Tool broke? FiberFix it. Saturday saved. Broken stool? Yeah, that's FiberFix, but sanded to be smooth and painted to be beautiful, like the toenails of a brawny woman. Camping in the middle of nowhere with a broken tadpole? FiberFix it. Saturday saved. Exhaust pipes, water heaters, FiberFix can fix it all, and it can withstand temperatures of up to 850 degrees. If it were any stronger, you could use it to repair a volcano. FiberFix is 100 times stronger than duct tape because it uses fiberglass technology. Just dip it in water, wrap it, and wait 10 minutes. Bam! Jordan! Hardened. Strong as steel. FiberFix. Tougher than nails and softer than nothing because it's FiberFix. It wasn't made to be soft. You want soft, go buy a puppy and a tissue to blow its nose into. You want tough, buy FiberFix. So if you break things and would like to unbreak them, click here to order FiberFix today at fiberfix.com. Fiber Fix is like a first aid kit. You shouldn't wait until you've cut yourself before you go out and buy one because you'll bleed out and die, according to what I know about cuts. You gotta have that kit ready the moment you need it, just like you need Fiber Fix before something breaks. In your house, your glove box, your toolbox, your fanny pack. So when the poop hits the fan, you can wrap that poop in Fiber Fix. Heaven help that fan. Or maybe you're thinking, do I have to buy Fiber Fix? Can't I just use 100 times more duct tape? Sure, you could totally do that. Or maybe you're thinking, Fiber Fix is tape. That can't be a permanent solution. Well, you should stop being such a tape racist, because this is nothing like any other tape you've ever seen before. Yes, this roll cage was held together by nothing but Fiber Fix. And no, I did not weld it. It's called Fiber Fix, as in permanent fix. Like when you get your dog fixed, there's no going back. Sorry, boy, here's a tissue. Is Fiber Fix for women too? Just ask my smoking hot wife. Yes, it is. Back to you, husband. So click here, and we'll send you our Manly Man kit, complete with Fiber Fix repair wrap, heat wrap, and patches. You'll be ready to repair anything, anytime, anywhere. So you can spend the rest of your time winning your wife back from the plumber. So unless you've never broken anything in your life ever, click here to try Fiber Fix today. Fiber Fix, for every man, including women.
Okay, welcome back. I can watch your guys' faces as you were dying laughing over there. So I hope that was a good pattern to interrupt. But I saw a video and I was like, this is the most amazing video of all time. I'm totally in on this project. Let's do it. And so the first thing I did is I went to fiberfix.com and clicked on the link and took me to, I can't remember if it was an Amazon store or Shopify at the time, but I looked at it and was like, there's no reason, like, no wonder nobody was buying it. I showed up and there's like 20 different SKUs of all the products they had. And this is one of the biggest problems most e-commerce sellers have is like, I have a whole bunch of SKUs, like, come buy all my stuff. But it's like, what is the thing that people actually want? So I actually went, I can't remember if it was Amazon or Shopify. I went and I bought all of their different products, I had them shipped to me, and they all showed up in this box. Okay, this is not the exact box. This is the version we bought recently for this presentation, but it came in a box like this, and this is where the concept of the unboxing funnel came from. I said, okay, let me take all this, let me pull all this stuff out. Like if I was to go buy everything, this is all the different things in this box, right? And I think I said this is $200 or $300 worth of Fiber Fix. So I pulled all the things out and I said, okay, I unboxed it, right? Now I've got all the different SKUs, all the different products, and I asked the guy, I said, well, of all the things you have, like what's the best selling product? And they told me what the best selling was and what's the second, and then we walked through the whole process, okay? And that's how we started building this funnel, okay? So if you looked at the page, this was the page that we built when we initially launched it. And first step we did is how to create an irresistible offer. So instead of saying, here, buy a thing of Fiber Fix for $30, we created a special offer, right? So we said, when you get 3 wraps of the 1-inch Fiber Fix, we'll throw in 2 wraps of 2-inch for free and 1 wrap of 4-inch for free. That was the offer we created. So I don't remember exactly what it looked like, but it was like, all right, we're gonna give you, if you buy this, right? You get these 3 kits or whatever it is. And so that became the front end offer, okay? Then we had an order form bump. Now, one of the coolest thing about e-commerce products is different with information products is that people aren't typically going to buy 3, 5, 10, 20 copies of their book, right? But they do with physical products all the time, with supplements, with Fiber Fix, with whatever the product is. So the very first thing, we have an order form selector. If you look at this, I said, hey, you can buy 3 Fiber Fix, 6 Fiber Fix, 9, 12, 15, or 30. Okay, so we have the ability for you to buy even more of this front-end offer. And what's crazy is that this immediately took, before when they're sending people to Shopify or Amazon, their average order was like $20 or whatever one thing was. But we made these different variations, and now we highlighted this one here as the best deal. And because of that, the majority of people actually bought this, and tons of people bought 12, 15, and 30. Okay, so that became huge. And then we added in a heat wrap, which is, I don't know if we have it here. Let's say this is a heat wrap. That became the order form bump. It's a different type of wrap. Okay, so already just from the very first thing, people had the ability to buy up to 30 Fiber Fix plus a heat wrap, like from this first page in the funnel. Okay, it increased our average cart value. Remember what Dan Kennedy said in the earlier session? Whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins. Okay, so now we were acquiring customers at a much higher profit. Our average cart value is way higher, so we can spend more money in ads to get those people. Okay, then we went to upsell number 1. So upsell number 1, we sold them more of the same thing. It said, hey, you just bought 3 starter kits earlier. How would you like to get 1 more starter kit at a discount, or 2 more at an even bigger discount? Okay, and this said, look, these extras for yourself, for friends, that make great gifts. And we had a huge percentage of people who then took the upsell, which was like more of the same thing. Boom. Okay, then we went to the next product. The products, like, what's the next thing in your product line? And figure out the next thing. I don't know if this was it or not, but here's the rigid packs, right? And so this became the next thing. So OTO number 2 then became the next logical SKU in their product line. Okay, so it was this thing right here. It was the repair wraps and the heat wraps. That was the next SKU in their thing, the next best selling thing. So that was the next offer in the funnel. And then the last offer in the funnel is what they called their Manly Man kit, which was hilarious. And so it was this big kit with a whole bunch of stuff that you could take with you and everything else. And so that was the last page in the funnel. And then from there, we took them to an offer wall that pushed them back to the Shopify store and the Amazon place so they could buy more things. So that right here became the Fiber Fix funnel. Okay, you see how the structures are almost identical to the book funnel, right? But instead, I'm pulling things out and say, okay, what's the most likely thing to buy? And then sell more of the same thing in the next product line in the SKU and things like, so on and so forth like that. Just like we did with Marcus Lemonis' funnel. We did the toilet paper and then the stinky things and then the septic thing. And then we're taking them through like, what are the best selling products in your product line, okay? We had someone recently, and they had a keto fudge company they launched, and they had a Shopify store, and they're doing it and having no success with it. So they pulled out their 2 or 3 best-selling SKUs from the Shopify store. They plugged into funnel just like this: SKU 1, SKU 2, SKU 3. They went and started driving traffic to it, and this funnel now broke them even. They actually were very profitable on this front-end funnel, was killing it. And then after the customer would come in, right, they go through this process, they make the money, and then they get what? The most important thing in a business. What do they get? They got a customer. So they drove traffic, they came through this process, then they got a customer, and then they built this customer list, kept growing bigger and bigger every day, and they'd send their customer list to the Shopify store and be like, if you want reorders, they're over here, okay? And that company within like 2.5, 3 months went from startup to 2 Comma Club using that cart funnel, okay? Using Shopify on the back end for like reorders, things like that, using a front end funnel to buy ads profitably and to grow and scale their company, okay? So that's what a cart funnel looks like. Does this make sense to you guys? Okay, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Even if some of you guys are like, cool, I'm doing a book funnel, I'm doing a cart funnel. Some of you guys are like, I don't know what I'm doing yet. This is something you can go out and be a consultant for people. Come into people who have e-commerce stores, be like, let me build you a front-end funnel so we can scale and grow your company quickly, right? Or people who have books, they're selling them on Amazon but nowhere else. Like, let me come in and like turn this thing into a funnel for you. Like, there's so many opportunities when you start learning these skill sets. That's why I keep teaching them and keep talking about it, because you may not be the person with the book, but maybe you know someone, and you can get paid to be the person who actually creates these things for them. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the cart funnel. So those are the 2 core unboxing funnels. Again, the other unboxing funnel is called the challenge funnel. We'll be talking about that after dinner as a bonus session. But these are the 2 that I've traditionally used most of the time. Okay. All right. So we're going to move into a workshop phase. And what I want you to do, if you've got your workbook, the workshop starts on page 140 and it goes from there. But the biggest thing that I think will be easy to do, what I would recommend for all of you guys to do, is right now is just kind of sketch this out right here. Okay, we know what they look like. You've got your first page right here with your core offer. You got your order form bump. You got OTO1, OTO2, and thank you. So here's your thank you page. OTO2, OTO1. Here's your bump, and here's your offer. Okay, I think what would be powerful is think about your business right now. Maybe you don't even haven't written a book yet. You're like, I could write a book, or I could do a free plus shipping CD or something like that. Like, I want you to go through and take that and fill in the blanks on this right here. Just think through the structure. Like, if I was to do a book funnel for my business, what would it look like? What would be the offer I would put here? What would be the offer I put here? Offer here, offer here, offer here. Okay. If you're more on the e-commerce side and you got a whole bunch of products you're either creating or you're trying to create, and you got these things like this, come back and do the same exercise. Say, okay, what could my core offer be that I could plug here? What would be an order form bump offer I could plug here? What would be an OTO1, OTO2, and thank you page? And start kind of mapping those things out. So we're gonna spend 5 minutes trying to doing that together, mapping it out, and then we'll break out into your workshop rooms to help each other. And one thing, when you go to your workout rooms, coach each other. If someone comes in, they're like, here's my offer, and the offer's horrible, be like, that offer sucks. Let's think about how to make this offer better. Okay, half of my business is just looking at an offer, how to make it better, how to make it sexier. How else can we add this? Like if this was the offer right here, is there any way I can give people 3 things to make the offer even better? Like, we're trying to figure out how to make the offer better. And tomorrow morning, I'm gonna talk a lot about offers, how to make the offers better and more attractive and make them more valuable. But for right now, if someone in your group gives you a funnel, you're like, that's actually not a good idea, help coach them through it. Give them some ideas, like, what if you try this? What if you tweak this? Or maybe like, I have no idea what an upsell could be. Help coach them through the process. Okay, I told you guys earlier today about the transition from growth to contribution, right? Right now, I'm giving you guys stuff. You're growing, but I guarantee you start contributing to each other's inside this group. That's when you're all gonna grow faster. Okay, you're all getting the same tools, but all you guys are gonna have different insights as we go through it. So take the time to contribute to other people. Okay, go in the Facebook group when tonight's over, post your questions in the Facebook group and go together and contribute, help each other out. Okay, because by you helping other people and like coaching them through this process as well, it's gonna make you better at it too. Okay. All right. So that's it. You're going to have 5 minutes. Your 5-minute exercise is for you to go through, take this funnel sketch and layout, and figure out what offer do you have on every single page. Just the core offer we have on every single page of that, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll break you into the workout groups. Okay. So that said, you got 5 minutes. Ready, set, go. So glad to have all you guys back. It is insane to see all of you guys all day long, hanging out, being attentive, taking notes, doing the thing. During each break, I watch out and I spy on all the cameras and watch you guys doing your thing. It just makes me super happy to see a group like you guys coming here. You know, I told people, and I kind of talked about this a little earlier this morning, which seems like it was 2 days ago now already. But when I first started this business, I got in this game. Like, I got into it because I was so passionate about it, right? I would talk about stuff because I was so excited, talk about it over and over and over again. And for so many years, nobody would show up. Nobody would pay attention. In fact, I remember the last event I did prior to our first Funnel Hacking Live, it was probably 4 or 5 years before that. I did an event. We sold 300 tickets. I was so excited to come and teach people about all these funnels and all these things. And less than 100 actually showed up. And I remember thinking, man, like, does no one care about this stuff? Like, it's the most exciting thing in the world. But I kept talking about it because I was passionate about it. Okay, I took my little flame and it became bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where I was so excited. And now it's so fun for me to see all of you guys showing up, learning this stuff, enjoying it, figuring it out for your own businesses, seeing the success from it. It just means the world to me that you guys are here. So thank you again for being here and for participating. We're almost, we're still in day one, but we got three full days of amazingness for you, and just grateful for you guys. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'll talk about tomorrow really quick. We're gonna be starting tomorrow morning, same time. Make sure you show up early. I've got a new presentation I'm gonna be going with, and then tomorrow's gonna be a really fun day. We're gonna be watching a documentary together, but I got 3 live presentations that are new I'm gonna be going through with you guys tomorrow, and then one amazing one from Funnel Hacking Live Orlando I wanna share with you guys, one of my favorite presentations I've ever done. And anyway, some really cool stuff happening tomorrow. It's gonna be super cool, and I wanna make sure you guys do not miss any of that. For today, the game plan is that I'm going to be showing you guys one more presentation from a Funnel Hacking Live from Dean Graziosi. It's an amazing one. After that, I'll come back. We'll break to dinner. We'll have a 45-minute dinner break, and then afterwards, we got a bonus session tonight about challenge funnels. That'll be less than an hour, about an hour long tonight. After dinner, and then we'll wrap it for tonight, and then we'll come back for tomorrow. So that's kind of the game plan. What's happening again tomorrow? We start bright and early. I'm up on stage going live first thing in the morning, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll be going deep into offers and a bunch of other cool things that I think will help you out a ton. I'm gonna be showing you guys some crazy ads we've been building and some of the results from them and some other stuff too. So I'm excited for it. Okay, so up next, I'm gonna bring you guys one of my favorite people I've met since I've been in this business. I've been doing this now for 18 years. I've had a chance to meet so many amazing people, but one of my favorite is definitely Dean Graziosi. Someone I have so much respect for. I used to watch him on infomercials when I was a kid. And when I had a chance to become his friend and become his business partner in different projects, it's just meant the entire world to me. I wanted to share this presentation because we've been talking a lot about funnels and about strategy, things like that. And I wanted to give you guys, I wanted to tap into some traffic stuff. Okay, Dean's gonna talk about traffic a little bit and some stuff just to get the wheels in your head spinning now that we've learned about book funnels and unboxing or cart funnels and things like that. Like, I want to spend a little time tonight before we break for dinner just thinking about the traffic side of things, okay? This whole conversation with Dean started, and he probably talks about this in the presentation, but it's because I was selling my Expert Secrets book. He was selling his Millionaire Mindset, and he was selling 4 times as many books as I was. We couldn't figure out why, and I was like, Dean, I have to figure this out. So I ended up jumping in a plane, flying down to Arizona, spending a day with him, trying to figure out what they were doing different than me. When I figured out what it was so simple. I was like, oh my gosh, how do we miss it? And so I had him come to Funnel Hacking Live to explain this and teach this process he taught to me, to everyone at Funnel Hacking Live, and it was an amazing experience. And so I want him to teach that to you guys right now, and it's gonna be a lot of fun and get the wheels in your head spinning about how do we start promoting things, how do we get traffic, how do we have the marketing stamina that we need to be able to grow these companies. So that's what we're gonna be doing right now. So with that said, I'm gonna queue up the presentation from Funnel Hacking Live. You guys have a chance to hear from my friend and mentor, Dean Graziosi.
Get on your feet and welcome to the stage, Mr. Dean Graziosi.
Well, first off, did Russell and his team put on an amazing event or what? Oh my God. Love your energy. Been watching you guys for a day and a half now. Really amazing. So today, I want to share something that I think is be the most impactful thing I can. Russell and his entire team, I've watched their growth since day one. I admire what they're doing. I love how they care. And I came here to serve. I came here to deliver what I believe is the number one thing, with the more I analyze it, number one thing that's allowed me to stay relevant on video for 20 years. I did my first show 21 years ago, and I'm still here. So thank you. So today, what I want to do is I want to share what I think is the ultimate unfair advantage. You guys up for learning that? You guys up for learning that? All right, that's what I like. But first, let me just ask this. Raise your hand and keep it up if you are finally ready and you're starting your business this year. Raise your hand if you're starting this year. Leave your hand up. Leave your hand up for a second. Raise your hand if you have a business It's making pretty good money, decent money, but you know there's another level. Now raise your hand if you're crushing it. All right. The reason I ask that is because wherever you are today, I'm going to ask you to listen, maybe like you've never listened before. There's some stuff I might say that you've heard before, some stuff that's gone by, but I want you to know, I know what it's like to have envy of other people starting their own business and it's not working. I know what it's like to wish for more. I didn't go past high school, and I have my own story, we all have, didn't have money as a kid. And I also know what it's like, though, to have my first sale. I know what it was like to hit 100 grand a year, 100 grand a month, 100 grand a day, 300 grand a day. I've been through every phase. I've also been almost there when I got my business to about $10 million a year. I almost lost it all and had the sick stomach and the ulcer and wondering if I could ever get it back. And did I have the energy? Did I have the money? Did I have the time to get it back? So I share that only because I want you to know wherever you are, I've been there. But I also know what it's like to be a multiple New York Times bestselling author. I know what it's like to meet my heroes and impact millions of lives. And 2 years ago, my brands and my company passed $1 billion in sales. So, thank you. But I don't say that just to like position or posture. I'm saying that because the stuff I'm sharing today, it's not coming from hearsay or what I think is a good idea or because I had a couple successful campaigns. It comes from years of figuring this out. And plus, I started a $100,000 a year mastermind with my buddy Joe Polish. And then Tony Robbins and I are launching one in 2 months, a $250,000 a year mastermind. In fact, Russell cut the first check. How cool is that? So he's not somebody who just teaches, he's an obsessive learner. So you guys are in such good hands. But I say that because what happens when someone pays you 250 grand to be in a room with you? You better know how to share what you do. Add up to how much they're paying per minute. It's a lot of money, right? So what it's done is allowed me to obsess and break down what works and what doesn't. And that's what I want to share today. One thing, though, that my team dug up. This is going to make everybody feel better. Let me get to the slide. I think it's this one. Okay, can you pull that up? This is going to make you all feel better. This is the first, I didn't even know my team had it. This is the first time in my life I was ever on video. It was my infomercial that I shot in 1998. So let me rephrase a little bit. I walked outside to go on camera in front of the house I had built. I went completely cottonmouth. I couldn't say 2 words. I ran inside and did a shot of tequila, thinking that would loosen me up, and all it did is made me a little dizzy and still screwed up. So not only do I have a horrible, horrific New York accent, I have the worst pleated khaki pants that existed on the planet. But here we go. This is the first time ever on camera in 1998.
Watch my show, and I'm going to show you how I drove this incredible car for 6 months and profited $5,000 worth of spendable cash. I'm going to show you how I drove this car for 4 months and profited another $4,000 worth of spendable cash. My secrets in Motor Millions will even show you how to get started with no money. And I'm going to show you how to start even if you know nothing about cars.
Yep, that was me. I say that so everybody in here can feel a lot better about you being on video. Now, what I'm going to share today, it doesn't matter if you're shooting an ad, you're shooting a sales pitch, you're writing copy, it applies to all of it. Of course, video is my method of choice. Who in here has seen any of my ads? Anybody not see them? I've got to make sure I follow you. But I want to start, before I get into what I believe is this total unfair advantage, I want to share the one thing that I believe changes everything. And when I share it, you're going to say, you're going to know you heard it before, but I want you to hear it again for the first time ever. Is people will always ask me, how'd you go so good on camera? What is your secret sauce? What page you're using? What's the opt-in? When does it come up? How long is your video? That's probably the #1 question I get. What's the length of your best videos? I get all these questions. And it really boils down to this. Love what you do so much that you feel it's a disservice if you don't get someone's credit card. You've heard that before, but the reason I obsess, the reason probably 99% of you have seen my ads for Millionaire Success Habits. By the way, we just passed 500,000 copies just on social media alone. How cool is that? But the reason you see so many ads, and the reason I'm obsessive and next level a maniac when it comes to doing it, is because I know I am screwing people over if I don't get my book in their hands. Because I know the impact. When you guys get the chance to read that book, if you haven't already, you'll know what I'm talking about. I can't help someone. I can't have them overcome their fear. I can't help them get wealthier or happier or have more abundance if I don't get my book in their hands. So I will do everything in my power to make sure they get it. I'm obsessed with it. And if you hesitate on selling, if you have a tiny bit of apprehension of selling, that means you don't love what you do enough. Because if you don't get in front of them, if you don't get someone to take action, if you don't obsess on marketing and sales, which is the oxygen of every successful business in the world, if you don't obsess on that, they look at you as another video, another thing in this sea of everybody wearing the same color shirts. You just look like another person. There's also videos, and we'll talk about it today, that are entertaining. They're fun to listen to, but at the end, someone doesn't take action. And I'm going to break down how that works today. But I want you to think about this. Let me ask you this. Who in here, and I want to hear, Russell's in the back, let him hear it. Who in here is happy that Russell took your money and you're here today? Okay. Russell is another one who's obsessed and knows, what he just launched, as he was talking about it, I'm like, my team needs that immediately. Russell obsesses on impacting your life. So Russell will shoot video after video. He'll film while he's on vacation with his wife at Disney, which I'm sure she hates. But he does all of that. Why? Because he feels he's doing a disservice to you if he doesn't get your credit card. He can't help you. I want to give you this framing of loving to sell on another level. Not just saying it's a part of my business. It is your business. It is everything. That Kevin Costner movie, when he was, remember the Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams? The whole concept of the movie was, if you build it, they will come. That's how people feel so much with their businesses. If I make it strong enough, if I write the good enough book, if I can impact the world, if my coaching is the best, if my product is the best, they will come. Guess what? They will never come. It's a delusion people have. Every once in a blue moon, there's something that goes viral on its own. That's 1 out of 1 million. Every other company you see has got a marketing machine kicking behind the scenes. Think about it. Was Mother Teresa a saleswoman? Was Martin Luther King a salesman? Hell yes. There was amazing nuns that wanted to help people. There was the civil rights movement, had lots of great leaders. But why'd they stick out? Because they were two bad salespeople. So selling is the fuel. It's the oxygen for your next level. All right, so now I want to share what I believe to be the secret to my success. And again, I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying this. I thought long and hard before I came. I had a million things I could share. I've done over $500 million in my companies and my brands with coaching sales. I've sold millions of books on TV and online. I took all my strategies from TV. I ignored online like an idiot until a year ago. Most of you probably never even saw me online till a year ago, but now we're dominating, right? So I took these same strategies, and they work in direct mail, they work on TV, they work on YouTube, they work on Facebook, they work on Instagram. So that's what I'm sharing. And one thing before I get to this part that I think is the framework for what's worked so well. The person you have to do a sales job on, and maybe this is a little personal growth mixed in, and I think that's the secret in my life, is the person you have to do the biggest sales job on is you. When you love what you offer to other people so much that you feel like you're doing them a disservice if you don't get their credit card, when you understand that and understand your mission, your passion, your desire, the person you have to sell the most every day is you. And if that's looking in the mirror and getting yourself in that moment of that part, that enthusiastic, that authentic version of you, then do it. If you have to read your goals every day, do it. If you have to write down new goals once a week, do it. Because I don't know if you realize this, how we are is how the people around us are. If you're in this room, you're a leader. You're a leader in your community, you're a leader in your business, you're a leader online. How you react, how you come across is how you set the tone around you. And if you're having a bad day because you didn't sell yourself that day, and you doubt your own success, you doubt your ability to grow, you doubt your next level, even 5%, guess what? People smell it. You could smell lack of confidence. I can pick it out in someone in 2 minutes. I have people pitch me all the time. I could tell when someone's pitching me and they're desperate and they need me for money. And I could tell when someone's pitching me because of 1 + 1 = 10. I know the difference in 3 seconds, and so do you. So if you're not selling yourself every single day, then you're doing a disservice to the people around you, the people, your partners, your friends, your family. So know your mission, know where you want to go, and sell yourself on a non-stop basis. And the last thing I'll say before I get to this little section I want to do for you is we are at a phase in the world, I believe, and I have a little history of this, 20 years every day on TV and the internet, over $1 billion in sales. I'm reminding you of that because I want you to listen to this, is we're at a phase where people are sick of, for lack of a better word. People are sick of the magic money machine where you get rich in 5 minutes. People are sick with the pill that'll get you have a ripped stomach without doing the work. We are done with it. That phase came. I watched it come on TV 15 years ago. My team freaked out. Look what everybody's saying. I said, they'll be gone. If you guys watch my ads, do I always say it doesn't spit out money? It's not a magic money machine. You got to do the work. If you're going to buy this book and think to get rich, don't buy my book. The more authentic you are, the more real you are, the more raw you are, is what the world is craving. Everybody's sick of. So, you couldn't be sitting in those chairs, in my belief, at any better time in history. Because right now, the world, you know what they want? They just want you. Don't try to be Russell on camera. Don't try to be me on camera. Don't try to be anybody. Be the best version of you that you could be right now. And believe me, I look back at that video, I'm so embarrassed. But I'm embarrassed at my videos a year ago because I always want to grow. But guess what? A year ago, it still worked. That infomercial worked 20 years ago. And I think when I look back, that authenticity, that being real, being the best version of me, even if I don't have a vast vocabulary. I don't. I use a lot of amazing greats and goods and pretty much everything. But that's me. And I get to be the real me and get those results. Everybody getting this? All right. So now I want to take a little different direction, but go deeper on what Russell does so well. And that's the 3 steps: hook, story, and close. I think Russell says offer there. I've been teaching this for a long time, thinking through this for a long time. And again, everything Russell talks about in this was right and spot on. But I want to give you a little example so it really anchors in, because here's the thing. Everybody, most people are really good at this. I watch videos obsessively, just like Russell, just like so many of you, and I'll watch so many people be great with the story, talking about their passions, their desires. They're automatically overcoming obstacles for the end buyer in advance. They're response blocking in advance. They're building authenticity. They're building credibility. They're getting you to trust them. All the things that need to go in a story. You want to overcome their obstacles. You want to build trust. You want to show why you're the authority. All those things happen here. I'm not even going to go deep in here. You tell your story. You anchor them in. So most people are good with the story. And a story will get you a nice little 6-figure business. But it's not going to take you where you want to go without the hook and the close. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. So this is a long time ago. I was watching Larry King, probably 10 or 12 years ago. And he's interviewing Joel Osteen. And it gets to a certain point, and Larry looks at Joel, and it was like one of those moments on TV, and he said, Joel, I'm a Jew. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. Am I going to hell? And I was like, oh, that's like, oh my God. I was hiding. I wasn't in the audience. I was home and I was hiding. And Joel, he's just a sweet guy. I've had the chance to hang out with him a few times. He's like, I'm not going to play God. I can't give you that answer. But here's the epiphany I had as an obsessive direct response marketer. All I thought about is, oh my God, what if there was a call to action right there? What if Larry King, in Joel's embarrassing moment, I'm thinking, what if Larry King looked into the camera and said, like Joel or not, you have the chance to get his book right here on the show. Call the number. That's all I could think about. That's all I swear to you, I didn't sleep for days. I geeked out. I bought the Larry King set. I bought the desk like Larry King. I bought the Larry King microphone for $5,000. And I put it all, I set it all up, and I hire a guy. Now, my company was doing good. This is 2007, so this is 12 years ago, 2007. I hire a guy to interview me, and he says, give me the questions. What's the teleprompter? I said, you know what? Let's pretend this is a real interview. And what I want you to do is act like the market's crashing. I don't know anything about real estate. I'm just some late night huckster. And he's like, do you want me to do that? Anyway, we lived this experience, and that infomercial changed my life. I did the first direct-to-consumer infomercial for a book. It was for my book, Be a Real Estate Millionaire. That infomercial changed my life. That infomercial did $140 million in sales. And I sold 1 million copies of that book. And it all came from Larry and Joel. So I fast forward. I say that 2 years ago, Larry King, we meet through a mutual friend. He's at my office. I ask him if he could do an infomercial with me. He says yes. I'm ecstatic. We pull out the old set. We pull out the old microphone. And Larry King comes to my office, and I'm like a little kid. I was nervous to go on camera for the first time. He walks in, and he's like, he's an awesome guy, but he's just set in his ways. He walks over, and he looks at the set, and he's like, why would the microphone be there? It belongs here. And he moved it like 7 inches. And I felt like I was scolded because I had the microphone in the wrong spot. So anyway, long story short, Larry and I do an infomercial. And what I did is I totally obsessed on all his best interviews. I geeked out on his interview with Prince and Madonna and Gorbachev and presidents, and I watched his open. And Larry always started with tonight on Larry King. I'm here with, if you guys are a little older, you remember, it was Larry King interviewed all the best. So I'm sitting across from him, and I said, no, just let's have this great interview. And he says, tonight, I write his open. I write the hook. And I had to obsess on hooks on TV. You guys, in today's world, you get to market to your demographic. Infomercials, I'm casting a big, wide net. I'm just hoping somebody doesn't skip the commercial, they walk by the TV, and then they stop and listen to me. I don't know if it's a mom, a child, an adult. I don't know anything, right? So I had to be really obsessive on a hook to stop the channel. Anyway, long story short, Larry King does this open. I'm going to show you. Want to see it? Okay. Let's play that.
This is Larry King. Tonight, my guest is Dean Graziosi. He's a multiple New York Times best-selling author, success trainer, speaking to sold-out crowds around the world.
Who in here wants more love, more passion? Who wants more money?
Okay, you can take that down. Okay, so now I do this show, and I'm in heaven. Larry King, this guy that changed my life. He didn't know it until I told him the story. He changes my life. I tell him the story. He's excited. He goes to interview me, and I write that open, just like I was Prince or Madonna or Reagan back in the day. And I totally screwed up. No one really gives a shit about me. I went against what I know. Is people buy from you, they learn from you, they adore you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. If you've never heard that, write that down right now. It will change your life. People learn from you, buy from you, trust you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. And what did I do? I went against everything I know, and I made it about me. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I've done this, I've done that. I'm amazing, I'm cool. No one cares. What's in it for them? So I'm obsessing on this infomercial. Why is it not working? It's it's Larry King. We're having this great conversation. The call to action is good. The interview is good. And I watch it, and I tweak it, and nothing. And then I watch it, and it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I messed up on the hook. I messed up on this. Listen, on infomercials, I used to think I had a minute or two to hook somebody. You don't have a minute or two anymore. You got a moment to see if people will take action. A moment in a sea of red shirts. How do you be the only black one that stands out? How does someone stop at your ad, look at your ad? We have to hook them to stop. So we have to ask a relevant question. So I obsessed on one thing, Larry King's opening sentence. Nothing else changed with the show. And I thought, what is relevant to a lot of people? And I came up with this. And it works, I would fit everybody in this room. The opening sentence was, in your adult life, have you ever looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, wow, I thought I'd be further ahead by now? That ever happened to anybody? Anybody in that room feel that? Let me show you the difference. Let's pull that screen up.
Tonight I want to ask you a very tough question. Have you ever in your adult life looked in the mirror and thought, you know, I really figured that my life would have turned out better? If so, you are not alone.
All right, you can take it off. You see the difference of those two? Thank you. One is about you. One's about your emotions, your fears, your thoughts, what's going on. Write this down too. We need to enter conversations already going on in the mind of our prospect. We get so excited about what we do. I got so excited to do an interview with Larry King. All I thought about was me. All I thought about was my success, my books. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about them. And I was living in my head. When I changed it and lived in their head, everything changed. I flew Larry back in. I begged him to please do the show over, just the opening. We put the same shirt on, put the same clothes on, put him in the same set. We changed the first 3 sentences of the show. That show's running right now. It's over $40 million in sales. The hook. So I want you guys I hope I'm sharing something a little different or a little different look of what Russell did, but I want you guys to obsess on what comes out of your mouth immediately. Listen, there's hooks and grabbers. I've also done some cool stuff. If anybody saw me pulling a book out of my Tesla dashboard, I had a box where books just fell out, but mostly it's never that. I like to be a wordsmith. I'm always thinking, what is the biggest pain point of my prospect that they're facing right this second? And how can I get them to stop and go, yeah, I've looked in the mirror and thought to myself, wow. My first infomercial, not my first, the one I did after Larry King, the first sit-down infomercial, that's when the economy crashed, and it was when I think Obama put like $700 billion into the economy. It's what everybody was talking about. My opening line was, hey, I know Obama put $700 billion into the economy. How much of that landed in your bank account? That was the opening line. That show was a monster. So I just want to talk about, I'm not going to talk much about the story today. I want to obsess on the hook. Go back and look at some of your videos that you love and they didn't work, and I bet you'll find what I did. I've been doing this for 20 years and I still screwed it up. Are you stopping them in their tracks so they pay attention to you? There's a lot of noise out there. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter there's a lot of noise. You guys have an unfair advantage by being a funnel hacker. And that's a true story. You guys, listen, not only is Russell and Dave and the whole team, are they dear friends of mine, I'm a client. They've allowed us to grow faster, quicker, and easier. And unfortunately, about 5 IT people lost their job because of them, but oh well. All right, before I go to this next part, I really want you to think about the stamina. And I want you to think of the terms, and you should write this down. Do you have marketing stamina? Planes fly. When a plane crashes, you don't question the aerodynamics. You don't say, oh, planes just, it's metal. How could it get off the ground? You know that, can we all agree that planes fly? So if it crashes, you don't question the aerodynamics of the plane, do you? But when an ad doesn't work, you question if marketing works. Facebook is oversaturated, that doesn't work. No, it works for me every single day. It works for half of you in this audience. Just keep telling yourself, I need the stamina to continue because I have a great product. I love what I do, and I'm making this work. When you do that, then do whatever it takes. If you hit an obstacle, go through it. If you hit 40 more obstacles, go to 41 because you'll crack the code and your life will change forever. Marketing is the oxygen of your next level. All right, so now let me go to this. Story, I told you, this is where I would bet to say most of you are already good with the story. So I'm gonna jump forward and go right to the close. I know Russell goes deep on the structure of the close. I wanna talk about this little space that lives right here. Now, if you're doing an ad, it's shorter. But if you're doing a sales video, if you're doing a webinar, if you're doing an automated sales presentation, like if you go to get my book, that's when you go from a hook. You come out with a big hook and somebody says, ooh, I like that, I'm staying. And then you prove your value, you prove your worth. And this is the second part most people screw up, is going to the close. This is the part, did you ever watch anybody on stage who's up here on fire? They're sharing, they hooked you in, you know their credibility, they're telling their story, and you're like, yeah, I want to do what he does, or I want to do what she does, and you're all excited, and then they're going to present something to you, and they're like this, and then they go to sell, and they're like, and I got a couple slides, and if you want to get my stuff, you can. Their physiology changes, and they apologize for the sale. And they wonder why it didn't work. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to offer you something. You just wowed me, and now I'm not buying from you. You have no confidence in your own thing. Listen, a great example, one of my companies that I own with Brendan Bouchard is called Growth. We invited Tony Horton to come speak, P90X. He lit the audience up, and he asked us if he could sell. I said, sure, go ahead. We weren't really letting anybody else, but it was Tony. He's impacted so many lives. So he's up there and he's on fire. The audience is loving him. And literally, I just had that presentation the day before about fall in love with selling. He literally is like, rah! And he's like, and I built this course, I put my whole life into it. And I hate to sell. I hate to sell. That's why, and we had 2,500 people in the room. He apologized for the sale, told people to go to the back. Out of 2,500 people, how many people do you think bought a $450 course that he obsessed over? Two. He had the whole audience. He went from the story, people start freaking out. I don't know about you guys. Who in here spoke on stage before? Okay, so many of you. Do you ever realize you have two voices going on? Like you're talking and then you're like, why is the guy in the third row over half asleep? Am I screwing this up? Like, bro, why are you talking to your buddy? Look at your text one more time. I'm coming out and getting you. Like, how do you do that? And I'm still talking and that conversation is going on. Well, that same conversation goes on for people when they're getting ready to sell. Talk about your life, your passion, your heart. And it's like, oh no, I have to go to my slides. And it's like, and so, and you could, you have to think about that. That's when everything goes to hell in a handbasket. What you have to do is take and carry that enthusiasm. Don't apologize. Listen, when Russell comes out and he's already offered some great stuff, whatever Russell offers, I hope he's standing on the edge here, getting you to be engaged because it's the only way he could change your life. And you're crazy if you don't get involved. And I'm being honest. I buy everything the guy comes up with. He buys everything I come up with too, so it's pretty cool. Mine are more expensive. What? Anyway. So I'm going to give you guys a little hack. Thanks. Thanks. I'm going to give you guys a little hack right now. You ready for this? Between the story and the close. Between the story and the close, build a bridge. And the bridge will be your crutch. Right here, have a bridge. And what do I mean by a bridge? Listen, there's probably people who have been doing this for years. I'm just sharing because I've never heard it. For me, when I get done with the story part and it's time to sell, I want my enthusiasm to go up. I want to step into it. I want you to know that I believe in what I do. I put my heart and soul into this. So I find a way to come up with a bridge that I know that's the trigger and the inside voice that goes, hell yes, it's time to frickin' sell. Hell yes, it's time to impact lives. And when that voice is talking, I get people to run to the back of the room. I get people to buy on my webinar, on my live cast, on my videos. And the bridge is something like this. So you say you're sharing up to a certain point. One that I've used, I'm going to share one. You'll see it if you're ever on one of my webinars or webcasts. I'll say, hey, listen, you've been with me for an hour. You've probably seen my books. Maybe you've read my book, watched me on Instagram. I'm betting by now you know my values. You know what I stand for. You know how I communicate. You know how I teach. And here's what I know. If you want another level of life, you're going to need help. There's no way you're going to get to the level you want on your own. I'd like to be that help. And that's why I'm so excited to offer you this. What I did is subtly just asked your permission to sell to you. Who is ready to buy something from me? Just be honest. All right. Save it for Russell. I'm not selling anything. But I want you to think about what's a bridge. Now, I've never used this one before, but it's an analogy you can keep in your head. If I was sharing with you and I gave you a whole bunch of value and I said, guys, I hate this. My time is almost up. I have 4 minutes left. I only had the time to share the tip of the iceberg with you. But I want more. I want to give you more. I want to help you more. Imagine what's below the surface. That's why I'm so excited. I created this course to give you everything I know. That's a bridge. All of a sudden, you have the enthusiasm, you have the excitement to go into your close with power. Does that make sense? All right, I had my team. I want to talk a little bit about marketing stamina. Keep that thought in mind when it's not working the way you want. And know that you could go deeper on the courses you're selling. We got to 100,000 books with Millionaire Success Habits. And it started to fatigue. And we were trying ads, and the team's like, hey, 100,000 books through Facebook mostly, pretty badass. Let's get to the next book. And when you read that book, you'll see why I want to put it in 1 million people's hands. I'm like, I'm not ready to give up on it yet. So we tried, marketing stamina. I pushed new ads obsessively. We got to 200,000. Team freaked out again. 300,000. Team tried to talk me into writing my next book. I really just didn't want to write the next book yet. But anyway, that's a whole different story. 400,000 copies. We're like, we made it to 400,000 copies. What are we going to do next? I'm like, next is 500,000 copies. Last week, we passed 500,000 copies. I know I said that, but here's the thing. We're having some of our best weeks. We're 2 years with the same book. 2 years with the same book. 500,000 copies. Last week, 4,165 books. Last week. 2 years in with the same campaign. Does that give you a little different framework to think about? Okay, so I had my team put together a little compilation of just some of the hundreds of videos I've shot. Marketing stamina at its best. Let's see, let's get to it. Yeah, and you'll see, I even put hook, story, close. Watch these, really think about it, and then obsess on it, and it's your turn. Go ahead. So let me ask you, are you prepared for when the market crashes? I'm about to freeze myself at 285 degrees below zero. No kidding. Watch this. Come here a second. You gotta look at this. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Did you ever wish you could turn your dreams into a reality? I've identified 36 habits that made me a millionaire in my 20s. All right, the common sense of an 11-year-old. Okay, this is the S&P 500. What's up, what's up? Just got done running the mountain up here in Idaho at 6,000 feet. I'm on this amazing street. So why is this book, Millionaire Success Habits, one of the breakout best-selling books of the year? Wait. Do you not have Millionaire Success Habits in your hand yet? Winter is coming, but the big question is, are you prepared? Wow, take a look at this. Millionaire Success Habits, my latest book, just passed 400,000. The law of attraction. Is it really the secret to success? What if I promised you could be a millionaire in less than a month? You could drive cars like this, live in the house of your dreams. Guess what? I'd be a liar. So now that I got your attention, let me ask you this. Are you living the life of your dreams? I don't know where you are in your life right now or where it is that you want to go, but I remember living in this house behind me. In fact, I lived in the bathroom with my dad for a while when we had nothing. I didn't even have lunch money. Listen, I was horrible in school. I didn't go to college, and my guidance counselor said, you can either go to college or you can go work at a gas station or a factory. I didn't go to college. My friends told me I was nuts. My family told me I was an idiot. I have no college education. I barely got out of high school. I did drive a tow truck when I was a kid. I did work as a mechanic, and I did have envy for other people, but I discovered the habits that have allowed me to go on and generate hundreds of millions of dollars in my life, and it has everything to do with your habits. Hey, I'm Dean Graziosi. I'm Dean Graziosi. I'm Dean Graziosi. Hey, I'm Dean Graziosi. I'm Dean Graziosi. My name is Dean Graziosi. I'm a multiple New York Times best-selling author. Yes, I'm a multiple New York Times best-selling author. My brands and my companies have generated hundreds of millions of dollars in my life. Now, am I saying you're going to be a millionaire, generate hundreds of millions of dollars? Heck no. But guess what? Without the right habits, without the right values, without the right rules,
Business just doesn't work. You need the habits for success. You need the foundation for wealth and sustainable wealth, not just overnight. And that's why my newest book, Millionaire Success Habits, is on fire. It is on fire. You see all the 5-star reviews on Amazon. It's been #1 in 4 categories. And I want to let you know that right now you can get my hottest book ever, Millionaire Success Habits, for free by clicking the link on this page right now. So click the link on this page right now. Click the link on this page right now. Click the link on this page. I'll click the link on this page. Grab the book. You will not click the link. Grab this hardcover book. Click the link right now. Hurry before they're gone. Thank you. Listen, I shared that at the end not to be like, oh, look how great I am. I shared it to inspire you that 90% of all of them shot, I don't have it on me, were shot on my phone. 90% of the one ad on the stream, I was masterminding with Russell. I ran the mountain, I came down, and I filmed it. I had Randy Garr and a buddy of mine film me while I was sweaty. I looked terrible. Right now, that's our best converting ad. It's 9 million views on YouTube alone. It's a monster. I shot it when I was sweaty. I stuttered on some words. I watched it. I'm like, oh, why couldn't you have a bigger vocabulary? I shot the one with my house where I was in front of my house when I was a kid. I was with my girlfriend. We were in upstate New York. I said, give me my phone. I shot that. That's our second biggest ad. What I'm saying is it's time to be real. It's time to be raw. It's time to do it. And I'm going to tell you, step up your marketing stamina. Stop overthinking it. Follow this mechanism. This is literally the strategy that got me on this stage to be at the place I'm at in my life. Stop overthinking it. Shoot some videos today. Get your message out there. The world needs you. We are in, right now, the information age. $365 million a day is spent online just for information. That's for 4 of you that are in products. We know what that is. This is your time to shine. Stop being afraid, take it to a next level, have more marketing stamina, and go kick. Thank you, guys.